I'm like, dude, where's this guy at?
Making an entrance. That's what you do. You stay with the real star. Lets it breathe a minute before he walks out on stage.
The definition of fashionably late, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome in. The Rob Brown Show is on your radio. This is the Fan Upstate. Happy Friday, baby. What's happening, y'all? How you doing? Great to be with you. I am Rob Brown. The great one, Lorenzo, is on the board today. What's up, Lorenzo?
Man, I don't even want to be here. My name's Lorenzo. Shut up.
Oh, man. Ladies and gentlemen, Lorenzo is joining us here today.
I guess if I had to choose between Lorenzo and London, which, autocorrect takes it to London a lot of times. London, I think I'd rather be Lorenzo.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely.
At least there's a Z in it.
We recorded yesterday. We recorded our first edition of Views from Mint Street, our nationally published Carolina Panthers podcast.
Eventually.
We went ahead and recorded that yesterday, and then they sent us over the imaging. Yeah, when we talk imaging and radio, we're talking about the
Rob Brown Show.
We're talking deep voice announcer guy.
Get robbed.
And deep voice announcer guy, I guess, was in a hurry, which makes sense because Odyssey's launching 32 NFL podcasts over the course of this week. He sent us over the imaging, and it was, "This is Views from Mint Street with Rob Brown and Lorenzo Reitzel." Which I then decided, obviously, Lorenzo is Lonzo's heel character. Like, that's when he pulls the heel turn, he becomes Lorenzo.
It's Lorenzo Reitzel, by the way. Which kind of,
It makes sense because
it's nice,
because
but
cutting a promo, I'd be like, all right, Lorenzo Reitzel, and you'd be like, no, it's Reitzel. Like, it would be
for the heel move. You're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. Lorenzo Reitzel, ladies and gentlemen.
I think a character is born. I'm not going to tell you when he might show up.
He's here now, this whole show. It's 3 hours of Lorenzo Reitzel.
If I was Lorenzo for the entire show, I might get called into the office.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are glad to have you along for the ride today. It is game day! High school football this evening. Burns at home against Brooklyn Casey. I'll be on the call. Speaking of high school football, coming up at 10:35-ish, we're going to have the rejoin of the boys. Our buddy Kevin is going to be back. Moving the Chains. Kevin and John from Moving the Chains are going to join us. They'll run us down the Week 0 slate of games, including that Burns matchup tonight. So we got some high school football coming your way in about an hour and a half from right now. Make sure you stick around for that. Other than that, y'all know how Friday works on the show. It gets weird, man. I'm going to turn Lorenzo Reitzel, not just turn him right back to Zoe, but I'm also going to increase his fandom of Zion Williams and the New Orleans Pelicans right now. One sentence, one quote from Zion Williamson, and I am going to turn Zoe back into a Pelicans fan. Are you ready for the quote, Lonzo?
Sure.
From the mouth of Big Z. He's obviously taken a lot of criticism about his weight, taken a lot of criticism about missing a lot of games for the Pelicans due to injury, etc. And he was asked, how you keeping your head on, right? You signed an extension with the Pels. They're excited to have you. But there's a lot of criticism, and you're taking some BS criticism because the talking heads of the world want to see you as a Knick or a Laker. So in the face of all that criticism, how are you keeping your head down? How are you keeping moving forward? Here's how he responded to that, Lonzo. Quote, "No matter what the world is saying, I have to remember that I am who I am and stay true to that. That's what Naruto did, and that's what I'm going to do." End quote.
All right, so that doesn't help me. It's Naruto. I want to correct you before they come at you.
Who is they? The weebs?
They are out there.
The weebs are coming?
What does that even mean? What does we? I seriously don't.
Fan. It's a weeb.
Is it?
You're a weeb. If you're an American anime fan, you're a weeb.
Yeah, well, that's not me. I do like some anime, but I've never been into Naruto. Just because it looks lame.
Right, but like some sentiment for Z, knowing that after he gets off the court, his hobby is anime, like you, right? Like he gets some level of respect out of you for that.
I need to clarify here because we have talked on the show about who my next guy is as far as to follow, and it's between Zion and Luca, and probably we'll follow them both. I've always liked Zion, so you don't need to bring me back. Does this add to it that he likes anime? Yeah, there are more people who like anime than you think, Rob. Just like there are more people who like wrestling than Mark Ryan thinks. I mean, there are a lot of people out there who like anime. Went to see anime last night with some nice folks. So, I mean,
Zion's next shoe collection, by the way, is Naruto themed.
Which is cool, which is why he would mention it, because he wants to sell some shoes.
Sure.
Does he lessen in your sight since you don't like anime and he does? No. Is that a strike against him?
Look, how many times have I said on this show, like what you like? I don't care what you like. As long as you're not hurting or impacting anybody else, I don't care what you like. I watch
Are you okay with bronies?
Except them. They're the furries of the television world. It's not so much that it's like you're bad for liking it. It's just like, what are you connecting to, right? Like, what are you connecting to? You may not like wrestling, but I assume you understand what wrestling fans connect to. I don't necessarily get anime or haven't found one. I mean, I'll watch Dragon Ball Z when I was in college, but when I left college, it didn't come with me for whatever reason.
By the way, new Dragon Ball movie is excellent. One of the best ever.
Good. I'm glad. Like, if you like it, I get what you connect to, right? Because I also like Marvel and DC superhero movies like a lot, right? I get what you connect to, but if you are watching as a grown-ass man little girls' cartoons, what are you connecting to? And I'm not saying that in like a derogatory way.
He's talking about My Little Pony, by the way.
Question.
If you don't know what a brony is, it's someone who watches
bronies
My Little Pony.
Bronies are grown men who love My Little Pony. And my question is, what are you connecting to, right? What are you connecting to? What makes it appealing? I can tell you what is appealing about wrestling to me, or superhero movies, or Family Guy and King of the Hill. Hell, I can tell you what about Beavis and Butthead makes me laugh, right? I don't get bronies.
All right, so if I were to pick up some of these Naruto shoes from Zion, the red and blacks look pretty sweet, I gotta say. But those are,
a couple of them are good. Look, I didn't even know that they're anime themed. I just liked them.
Yeah. I was gonna say,
I just liked them.
If you looked at them, you wouldn't know. I mean, but I'm wondering if Naruto fans would look at it and go, "Oh yeah, that's this guy. That's this guy," and they probably. But I really like the red and black ones.
By the way, Brandon has tweeted into the show at The Rob Brown Show, at The Rob Brown Show on Twitter. Brandon has tweeted into the show and said, "So Lorenzo is our CM Punk, right?" Yes. Lorenzo.
Whatever, Brandon.
Lorenzo. The best part is, in calling him CM Punk, you have turned him back into Lorenzo. Well done. That's art. That's wrestling, baby.
You want to know what disdain looks like? Look at the stream right now.
Z an anime, not just an anime fan, but like a big anime fan.
Yeah, there are a lot of sports guys that are really into anime.
Oh, it's got just even like in the NBA, it's gotten wildly popular.
Well, in the premiere of the Dragon Ball movie that I went to see last night, Zelina Vega was there, hanging out with the guys from Funimation and all those guys. And I also saw that two people who are no longer with WWE, but who may be coming back, the former tag team champions, women tag team champions, were there, Sasha and Naomi. So there are a lot of anime fans out there.
I'm not saying there's not. I'm just saying, because I'm not one, it's just interesting to see. It's a dichotomy, right? When you think anime fan, you don't think a guy that looks like Z.
So when you See, I don't want to go. So what does an anime fan look like, Rob?
Not like Zion.
What's an anime fan look like, Rob?
Not like Zion, right? Not like Zion. It's.
Hey, yo, Lorenzo needs to know, what's an anime look like,
It was
Rob?
kind of like when I was explaining to the lady friend that, when we got together and I'm like, hey, here are the red flags from me, right? Like, I watch a lot of sports, and whatever you think a lot of sports is, quadruple that, and that's the amount of sports I watch, and I play Dungeons and Dragons like a nerd, right? And I'm not asking you to get it. I'm just letting you know that's a thing that happens in my life. And when we started talking about it, and she's like, only nerds play D&D. And I'm like, yo, Vin Diesel is a D&D guy. Joe Manganiello is a D&D guy. The Cleveland Browns' entire offensive line and defensive line play D&D together and against each other, and that's their bonding thing. Like, no. So, I mean, I get it. I'm just saying, I like that Z's like, you know what? My life has been a bit chaotic. I'm trying to pull it together. Where can I get my life lessons? And for most of us, it's like real world stuff we've went through that we learned from. And for Z, he's like Naruto.
All right.
That's where I get my life lessons.
So D&D is just a board game. Anime is just a cartoon.
Yeah.
I mean, really, basically, that's all those are. I mean,
well, I think with the anime thing, like, it's not just a cartoon. It is a cross. What's the word I'm looking for? Cross-cultural thing, right? Like, there are now American anime, but for years, if you wanted to watch anime, you're watching a Japanese cartoon with an English dub over it, which can be disjointing for some people.
Anime is a style of animation. It's a Japanese style of animation. There's an American style of animation, too, and I'm sure there's animation in other countries, but those are two of the biggest.
Sure. All right. Phone lines open, 844-FAN-PHONE, 844-FANFONE, 844-326-3663. You can text the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N, and we will read them on the air. Like the texter that says, Lorenzo Carmine Salvatore, a.k.a. Lo the Bro.
All right, I'm glad they brought this up. One of the main bad guys in the Dragon Ball movie last night, his name was Carmine, and I just about died.
I'm telling you, we started a thing, man. Texter said Zion leading the Pels to a title would be like Goku unleashing a spirit bomb onto Majin Buu. Majin Buu?
It's Majin Buu.
Majin Buu. Told you I haven't watched it since college.
It's all right, and I didn't go Lorenzo.
But the point
there.
is, that is now 2 or 3 different anime references on the text line. I feel like we've got a niche audience, and I love it. I'm here for it. I love it.
I think they're just proving the point that there's more people into it, and mostly it's Dragon Ball Z because that thing took off, and it's.
Oh yeah, it was huge when I was in college.
It's still popular.
But I think I've hit that point, right, where like I keep having to remind myself when we talk about guys like Zion that Zion is 15 years younger than I am. So the stuff that he watches in the same genre is obviously much newer than the stuff I watch. So it's like, I really think if Zion had made a, I gotta follow my heart like Goku did when, you know what I mean? Like, I'd be like, okay, I get that reference. It makes sense. I connect with that. I understand that.
As long as Zion doesn't start running down the court with his arms back behind him, because that's the Naruto run. You don't want to do that.
Somebody on Reddit was like, if he does that one time this season, right, like run down the court with the arms back and then throw a dunk down, the world's gonna catch on fire.
He might.
I find it hilarious, to be honest.
Well, you know what I think would be the most awesome about that whole thing is he would actually be on the court. That would be awesome.
Hey, can you do me a favor? I need you to go. But who's on the air on Word right now? Who shows on Word right now?
Tara.
I need you to go explain to Tara's audience, because this text just came into her show. Quote, chop blocking. Is that really a word? I think you mean something else. You have crossover appeal on Word right now, Lonzo.
I always have crossover appeal. Do you know who I am? I mean, come on.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lorenzo.
I can walk right in there right now and turn a microphone on and start talking.
Lorenzo. Explain the chop block to the politics people.
Lee Rogers is over there. He can do that.
All right,
he can take care of that. He's been been a football fan his entire life. He understands the chop block.
Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of stuff we need to get into today, including a golf story with Chris Farley ties to it. I'll explain to you what I mean. I'm assuming, when I say that, I'm assuming that you're all Chris Farley fans as I am.
So this has to do with a van down by the river?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, it does. Second off, you know what? I'm going to throw this question out to you right now. And this question's going to kind of follow in that same direction of like, let people like what they like and do what they want to do, right? Leave people alone. Let them like what they like and do what they do, right? But I don't understand this. Robert Lewandowski has moved over to Barcelona to play football. Well, during a training session Wednesday afternoon, Lewandowski had his watch stolen. Now, Lewandowski, who signed a £45 million contract with Bayern Munich, he was taking photographs with fans outside of his car, outside of Barcelona's training practice field. And while he was taking pictures, a thief opened the passenger door to his car, reached in, and stole his watch, which was worth $70,000. $70K. Now, a couple of things here. Number one, especially you youngins and you ladies, when you get out of your car, lock your car. All right? Lock your car. This is one, like, you see this at gas stations all the time where you're pumping gas and somebody will walk up and distract you, and while you're distracted, somebody else will open the passenger side of the door and go in and grab stuff.
I never, even when I'm pumping gas, I always lock my car.
Yeah, lock your car.
Yeah.
But second off, quick question. Unless you just have so much money that you need to spend it, who the hell buys a $70,000 watch? Like, why? What does that watch cook omelets? Like, does that watch clean your house for you? What does a watch do that's worth $70K? Oh, it's, it keeps time incredibly accurate. That's awesome. You know how long it takes to set my Timex if it gets off pace? About a second.
Is he single?
I have no idea.
I mean, if you're single, maybe it's a status symbol. You throw that on your wrist while you're at the nightlife somewhere, and you know how much this watch costs, baby. I mean,
Man, I just don't get it. I just don't get it.
It's no different than a bunch of bling or diamond encrusted grills. It's the same sort of thing.
No, I disagree though, because like if you see a big fat diamond necklace, you're like, that's a big fat diamond necklace. That dude's got money. You could. Let me put it this way: when we went to the AEW show, and I did my MJF cosplay because I'm a loser, right? I wore that green velvet jacket, and I had a buddy of mine that's like, hey, I got a green Rolex you can borrow, like a legit green Rolex. And I was like, all right, word, I'll do it, right? Like, because I was in character. I had the diamond ring, I had the green Rolex. But I'm wearing this Rolex, and at one point during the show, I look at it, and I'm like, I don't get it. I don't get it, because he told me what this watch is worth. And it was effectively worth my car.
And
I'm like, I don't get it.
You weren't hesitant to take that, knowing that you have a propensity to drop things?
Does MJF hesitate, Lonzo?
No, he does not.
Thank you.
But I'm thinking MJF doesn't drop things like 35 times during a show. And dropping that watch would have been bad.
Yeah, it would have. It didn't come off the wrist. But, like, again, why though? But, like, why though?
It's like certain brand names cost more, what, Versace
right,
or something like that. It's
but
just,
like, does anybody, like, I've never been talking to a dude and, like, looked at the watch and been like, oh, this guy must be rich. He's got a really nice watch. Like, it's a watch, right? Like a big diamond. When Big Cinco rolled up with his big Cinco diamond chain, I'm like, Dr. Pepper money. I feel you, bro. Dr. Pepper money. I get it, right? But I've never looked at somebody's watch and been like, this guy.
Yeah, but if you had
$70K for a watch,
if you had the eye, which I'm surprised you don't have as a 1%er, you could spot the fake watches, and you don't want to be having a fake Rolex when you can afford a real one.
Right, but like you're only communicating with those people.
I think the real question is, why was it laying in his car? If you have, that's on your arm, right?
In fairness, he did just sign a contract worth about $100 million. So $70K is literally what he makes in like
So
15
what?
minutes of soccer.
He went out shopping and just threw stuff in the front seat. I mean, I don't care how rich you are. You don't just lay that stuff. No.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's take our first break. When we come back here in just a minute from right now, you know what? Fridays are weird. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to break down Carolina, New England coming up later in the show. We'll take a look at the rest of the NFL. Chicago looked real good last night. Bears. So we'll take a look at some real sports, but I got some ridiculous sports stories to get to, including J.J. Watt saying he feels like a wuss. What was it that made J.J. Watt feel like a wuss? I'll tell you when we come back. Rob Alonzo and you, the Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is the Fan Upstate. All right, let's see. Right sell, a.k.a. selling the right work. It's all the work. It's all the work, Keegan. It's always all the work. Always. Manga sales worldwide are actually surprisingly huge. Anime has gone from being the weird kid thing to being mainstream. Like, a lot of things have, right? D&D has done that. Comic books have done that. Comic book movies have done that. Anime's done that. I think that it's always been big, but people were just always kind of ashamed to let their nerd flag fly. And now it's like, why would you be?
Well, because if you were into that stuff back in the day, you got beat up.
Fair.
I mean, that'll make you hide things. You just don't want to get beat up.
Trey says, Trey, who, by the way, with a dope Macho Man avatar there, well done, Trey, says, when you guys do the Dungeons and Dragons show, will I be able to learn how to play by watching it, or will I be completely lost? You will not be completely lost, because when we run this show, these guys are going to be starting at not level 1, but a bit lower level. And so you'll be able to follow along with their growth. It helps to have a basic passing understanding of the show. I'll tell you what I do, Trey. If you will shoot me an email to rob.brown@thefanupstate.com, rob.brown@thefanupstate.com, I will send you a couple of the intro to D&D videos that I watched to learn how to play the game. And that way you can have the base knowledge of it and be able to follow along. The other option you have is to just go search YouTube for D&D tutorials. It's really not that complicated to learn the mechanics of the game. It's just that once you get into the game, there's a million things that it can apply to individual characters, but the mechanics aren't that tough. Keegan says the Star Wars anime series got me into anime. I'm not mad about that. It was good. It was good. That being said, most of the Star Wars animated stuff has been good. Clone Wars has been good. Rebels has been good. Bad Bunch has been good. Like, most of them have been good.
It's Bad Batch.
Bad Batch, not Bunch.
Bad Bunch is like, when you buy bananas and there's like, a bunch down there. It's not very good. I'm not correcting to be mean. I'm trying to keep I am trying to keep everybody else from correcting because you guys are just going to do it. So I'm just trying to steal thunder, I suppose. So I will have a full review of the new Dragon Ball Z movie tomorrow night on the Upstate Pulse. But I will just let you guys know right away, if you're into Dragon Ball, you should go see it. It was really, really good. And it was an hour and 40 minutes, and it had a post-credit scene. So it was a full-on movie. And I'm trying to not get hung up on the fact that Lorenzo, it just really, it hurts. It does. No one's ever looked at Mark and not known it was Mark. I mean, I guess you could look at Mark and think it's Mike. But Lorenzo, man.
When we were on the show together down in Destin and we didn't like each other, I called him Mars.
I think that's
he didn't like it.
That is a common nickname around the building.
The Tannenbaum video is still on ESPN.
It is. It's hilarious.
It's been 2 weeks they have been playing this video.
And Keegan, as far as Bullet Train goes, I thought it was all right. I think the fight scenes, there wasn't enough. They were clever, but it needed to go longer. I think the dialogue was good, but it just cut off too quick. It seemed like the they threw the movie together in some places, especially when you see the three people who are on that movie who were just together in another movie. It's like, so they had them do favors to come on to be on that movie.
Well, like is it Netflix or HBO that has Bullet Train?
No, it was in theaters.
Was it?
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. It's been out like, I don't know, 2 weeks, 3 weeks maybe.
Courtney pointed out last night that with the current haircut, that if I don't cut it, it's gonna be a mullet. And I'm considering going mulleted next summer.
I don't know. I mean, I think
I'm
it's
cutting the sleeves off of every shirt I own.
now. I don't believe you'll do that because you love your shirts
I won't,
too
I love my
much.
shirts. Yeah, man. A little blue Wahoos action in the house today. Love the Wahoos.
All right, you guys are making me feel better. Thank you, Trey. Thank you, Lad.
Lorenzo. Vlad. I'm calling you Vlad now. Lad.
Lad the Impaler.
Vlad.
I'm getting constant emails of things that are scheduled for the weekend, and they're coming up on validation because I haven't done any of them yet. You know, I think people forget when you're filling in for someone, you also have to do your own work too. I mean, it's not like you put your work aside and do that. It's just not. Come on.
All right, the Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is the Fan Upstate. I am Rob. He is Lorenzo. We are glad to be along with you this AM and glad to have you along with us. Let's get to this story real quick. J.J. Watt. I would say J.J. Watt's a dude, right? Like J.J. Watt is a dude. J.J. Watt is an absolute guy.
I will say
He's a machine.
when this story is over, I know about this. I've watched the video and everything, and it made me feel better about myself because I've been in this situation a few times.
Did you react the same way? Okay.
Save it.
All right. J.J. Watt, 5-time All-Pro squad guy. J.J. Watt has made over $100 million playing football with his ability to just absolutely slam bigger dudes, right? He's a defensive lineman and a damn good one because he is a rough and tumble cat. Well, J.J. Watt went on Twitter the other day and said that for the first time in his life, he felt like a wuss. He said, quote, "If you ever want to feel like a wimp, that's a way to do it." Well, what was JJ talking about? About an hour before that, he sent out a tweet. Now remember, longtime Houston Texan turned Arizona Cardinal JJ Watt sent out a tweet that said, quote, "All right, Arizona, this is a new one for me. I've got a baby rattlesnake in my bathroom. What do I do?" End quote. Then his Twitter account went silent for a hot minute, which of course led to fans being like, "Oh God, JJ tried to wrestle a rattlesnake." JJ got into it with a rattlesnake, and our DE has just been put on the permanent IR by a baby diamondback. Well, a couple of hours later, JJ tweeted out a video, an update. JJ called somebody else to come wrangle the rattler for him. He said, quote, "I call this guy and he comes out of the house, takes a look at it, and he just picks it up with his bare hands. And he goes, that's not a rattlesnake. It's a long-nosed snake, completely harmless." And then he left. So if you ever want to feel like a wimp, that's a way to do it, end quote. Now, this is kind of an interesting situation, Lonzo, because, I've lived in the South my entire life. And everywhere I've been is snake country, right? From the Pine Barrens of the Northwest Florida, across the Gulf Coast, and now up to Greenville, South Carolina, everywhere is snake country. The backyard right now of the Casa de Love with me and the lady friend, we see snakes back there all the time. And it's kind of a weird spot to be in because when I see a snake, I say to myself, you know, I've seen enough episodes of The Crocodile Hunter. I think I know how to handle this, right? Long stick, push it towards the head of the snake, grab it by the tail, use the stick to keep the snake's head away from you until you move it. And then there's the other part of me that goes, no, don't do that. You'll die, you idiot. Because there are ways to look at a snake and tell if it's dangerous or not. Like, for instance, JJ, if you need to know if a rattlesnake is a rattlesnake, there's a very easy way to identify the rattlesnake. The rattle. That's the thing, JJ. A rattlesnake has a rattle on it.
All right. Stop going at J.J. Watt. He has a natural fear of snakes, and I don't have a problem with that. I grew up on the south side of Columbus, Ohio, in the middle of the city. I moved to the middle of the woods. Some people think I've lived there all my life. I have not, and I was cutting the grass for my cousin, being nice. I look up in the tree. There's a 10-foot long snake. Oh, that's a black snake. No, that's a snake that's 10 foot long. And you know what? It had just ate something. So I don't know if it was a bird. I guess it was a bird. It was in the tree. It ate it. There's a big lump in the middle of where the snake just ate something. And I've seen a couple snakes like that. If you run over them with your car, you know what they do? They just slither away. But the worst part is when they get in your house. It's happened like 4 times for us now in a couple different houses, snakes in your house. That is not good. You know why? And that's what, because the first thing you think, okay, there's one snake. Are there more snakes in my house? Then after you find and get said snake out, which we lost one and never found, and that's a horrible feeling, then every little noise you hear, every little sound you hear, you think it's a snake. To the point where you're kind of jumpy and, you know, eventually it wears off. But when it's fresh, it's not a good feeling to look and see a snake slithering across your living room. I do live in the woods. You've seen where I live. Snakes are going to find a spot to get in on occasion. But to me, all snakes should die. And I don't care if it's a garter snake. I don't care if it's a garden snake. I don't care if it's a green snake, brown snake,
right, so
rattlesnake. All snakes should die.
You're in the only good snake is a dead snake camp.
Yes.
I'm not. Because I would rather see.
By the way, those yard scissors, I don't know what they're called. The big yard scissors.
Shears, I think.
Yeah, those are the best thing to take care of snakes because you can get them from a distance.
No.
You just got to cut their heads off.
Stop killing snakes.
Oh, right? I will kill them all.
I will take snakes over rats every day.
I would kill them with fire.
I will take snakes over rats every day. And again, I feel like I've watched enough Steve Irwin to know how to deal with it.
Lorenzo don't like snakes, yo.
I'm not coming at JJ Watt because I can't like I'll give you the example. We had about 3 months ago, the lady friend and I were selling some like end tables on Facebook Marketplace, and a lady came over to buy them, right? And while we're loading up her car, I noticed a black snake that was crawling up a tree in our front yard. Well, the tree in our front yard has a birdhouse on it, and in that birdhouse was a nesting set of redbirds, cardinals, which, you know, the lady friend has an affinity for. I like them. And I've also hit the age in my life where I have traded most of my vices for, oh, would you look at that? There's a cardinal out front. Look at that. No. It's right there on the other side of the snake plant and the ficus. Yeah, no. Just past the house plants, there's a redbird. Because I'm lame now! Anyway.
Is that the voice of Robert?
Yes, that's it. Yeah, there's Lorenzo. Welcome to the Lorenzo and Robert show. Anyway, we noticed about a 6.5, 7 foot long black snake that was climbing up towards the nest. And I know that the cardinals had laid eggs at this point. So I'm like, nope. I let snakes live and let live, but that's my birds, man. That's my birds. So we had to go over, and I'm like, I got to get the snake off the tree. I'm tired of these mother bleeping snakes on my mother bleeping tree. So I rolled up, and I'm like, all right, it's a black snake. I know this snake is harmless, right? I know this snake is non-venomous. I know it can't do anything to me except sink some teeth. But I'm not trying to live that life either.
Say, really? Bring him into your house. Put him
Yeah,
on,
I'm not trying to live that
put
life
him on
either.
your couch.
No. I had a roommate who had a boa constrictor at one point. A red-tailed boa that chilled with us. Like, it would wrap around your wrist and just hang out. It was awesome.
We had a guy who used to work here who had a python.
Yeah.
And one day he walked in and
Maybe it was a python, yeah.
it had gotten a hold of his arm.
Yeah.
And, oh, it's not her fault. She was hungry. It's like, dude, look at your arm. How are you even moving that?
So I walked over with a stick and basically just poked this snake until it came out of the tree, right? But I understand that's different than if it's in your house and like under the sink. I just love the idea of noted bro and total guy, JJ Watt, like standing down the hallway on the phone with a flashlight trying to find this snake in his bathroom. I like that I now feel more like a guy because JJ wasn't for a minute.
You know, the other thing about, maybe he didn't want to harm the snake. Maybe he was being eco-friendly and he wanted to get an expert to come out and put it back in the wild where it belongs.
I'm good with that. I respect that.
I'm not. Kill it.
All right. 844 fan phone, 844 FANFONE, 844 326 3663. Text us on the Preferred Home Services text line 71307. Question for you. What's the response to seeing a snake in the house? What's a response to seeing a snake in the house? Are you the dude that gets it and moves it yourself? Are you the dude that calls somebody? Are you the dude like Lonzo that just goes into full Terminator mode? What's the response there? I'm gonna try to get it out the house, and if I can't, I'll find somebody who will. Because I want it outside eating the rats and keeping them the hell out. I'd rather have the snake than the rats. Texas says, fan snakes, God curse them. I don't have to do anything with them either. End of story.
That's right. Shake them snakes off into the fire and watch them burn. Sticking snakes.
You know what? I kind of regret introducing Lorenzo, ladies and gentlemen. Texas said, Rob, I haven't been able to listen to you since you changed times, but I'm out and about today and excited to get to hear you and Lonzo for a bit. Keep up the good work. Thanks, fella. Or madam, whoever you are.
Yeah, we'll keep up doing whatever it is.
We'll do what we do.
Yeah.
Whatever the hell we're doing right now.
Whatever that is.
Yeah. Texas said, with this economy, the only watch brands I'm going to be able to afford are Faded Glory and Laura Lynn. Thomas writes in, he says, your watch is the first thing I look at. You're a liar, Thomas.
There are people who do that.
You're a liar, Bigfoot
especially
hunter.
in a professional setting. There are people who do that. I've heard that. I've never been in a professional setting, but I've heard that if you were in one, that's what they do.
Oh, no, I get it. Listen, I'm a look at the shoes first guy, right? I'm going to look at the shoes first.
You know what I like to do? I like to look people in the eye.
Nah, the eyes lie. People lie. Shoes don't lie. Shoes don't lie. People lie. Shoes don't lie. If you're rocking a set of Jordans, I know who you are. If you're rocking a set of flip-flops, I know who you are. A set of slides, I know who you are. If you are wearing smart casual shoes, I know who you are. If you're wearing Chucks, I know who you are. Shoes don't lie. Eyes do.
What if you have all those?
What are you wearing at the moment? Because that's the guy you are that day. That's the guy you are that day. I own all of those things. I don't own Jordans, but I've got shoot shoes. I've got Chucks, I've got combat boots, I've got work boots, I've got hiking boots, I've got slides, I've got slips, I've got sneaks, I've got sandals, I've got flip-flops. And I can tell you that you can tell what kind of mood I'm in the morning by what set of shoes I throw on. If I put on the flip-flops, I'm taking it easy like the Eagles said. If I put on the Chucks, I'm feeling my wild side a little bit. If I put on the sneaks, it's just a normal day for me. The shoes go first. The watch, not so much, because everybody's got smartwatches now. Everybody's got the Apple Watch. Everybody's got the Google Watch.
I don't know why you need a watch when you have a phone.
I love my smartwatch. Love my smartwatch. You know why? Because I don't have to look at my phone all the time.
I love it when it's not laying in the office because it tends to make a lot of noise.
It does. All right, back after this. We got actual sports to talk about, including, I don't know if you guys heard or not, but Deshaun Watson got suspended yesterday. Breaking news. We'll address that
Which happened
more.
at 12:05.
Oh seriously. Dude, I had not sat down at my desk after the show was over when that came down. I'm like, really, guys? Let's talk about that when we come back on the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate.
You know, Luke, I appreciate what you did with the hammer, and being called Thor is never bad. It's never bad.
Yeah, let snakes be snakes. Let them live. Let them live. Keegan said it was Pine Barrens of What We Do in the Shadow Surface. No, they were actual Pine Barrens, but the Pine Barrens of New Jersey is where the Jersey Devil lives, which doesn't exist. But I had a buddy from New Jersey in my fraternity. He was from Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Swore to me.
You unbeliever in things supernatural.
Swore to me that he had seen the Jersey Devil. Swore to me.
And you immediately thought he was crazy.
No. I just didn't believe him. He's like, dude, I've seen it. I'm like, I don't believe you. I believe you saw something, but not like the Jersey Devil. And then he dared me to come up to Cherry Hill, New Jersey and camp with him in the Pine Barrens one night. I'm like, you know how I know you haven't seen it? Because you're willing to go back to the Pine Barrens. If you saw a 9-foot-tall devil creature with fangs and teeth, you would not go back willingly. And he's like, I'll go back. I'm like, that's how I know it's not true. Because you would go back, right? If I saw an actual demon, I would not go back there. That's why I don't believe they exist.
I personally believe faith is the evidence of things unseen. I believe there are things unseen, and I do believe that there are supernatural things. And Rob is a science guy. And you almost wish that people that are science-minded in that way would have an experience that would make them think, I have no idea what that is. And even as they go through their mind, going through all what they believe are the most educational answers as to what it could be, and they have to mark all those off and go, okay, that's not that, that's not that, that's not that. I don't know what that is. Is it okay to wish that on someone? Because if you do, it kind of changes their whole way of thinking. There are many, Josh.
All right. Do you think things like Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, Chupacabra, stuff like that are real or based on something that was similar but got exaggerated? No, I think that there's the possibility that people believe they saw something that looked like it. The Loch Ness Monster, I do not believe. They have done wildly intensive searches for the Loch Ness Monster and found nothing, nor have they found even bones or fossils or anything like that around Loch Ness that would be similar. I, for a while, genuinely wanted to believe that like a plesiosaur was still in existence, like there was one left, but no. They have proven the fraud of every picture. Everything is blurry, right? Bigfoot, the same thing. If Bigfoot was real, we would have seen one at this point. There is no way people are out there looking for it that much, and there's not even evidence of it at this point yet. Chupacabra, coyote with rabies and mange, right? Like, all these things are explainable without having to go to things that we have literally never not just seen, but don't even have evidence for, other than guy going, hell yeah, I saw it. I saw the Bigfoot. I saw it. The Sasquatch. The skunk ape. I saw it.
My turrets haven't went off today, but his have. So he's proven my point. And that's what
Which was what? I heard you talking about me, but I didn't hear what you said.
All right. So what I said was someone like you who needs empirical evidence of things. Is it wrong to wish an experience on someone that they can't explain just so the possibility comes into their mind that, okay, maybe there are things out there that I cannot use science to explain, that I cannot use my education to explain. There are things out there that I just don't know what the heck that is.
Not being able to explain something does not mean there's not an explanation for it, right? Like,
all right, I don't want you to die. I don't want your hair to turn white from seeing things. I think it would be an awesome case study to see how your perspective changed if you actually.
Vicksburg, Mississippi. I stayed in a bed and breakfast that was haunted in Vicksburg, Mississippi, and heard and experienced stuff that I cannot explain. But that does not mean I'm like, oh, it's a ghost. No. Footsteps down the other end of the hallway that you can't see anything making them doesn't mean there's not a source of those sounds, right? We have literally done the experiments that have found that certain old pipes made of a certain metal, I don't remember if it's copper or lead or what, but with the right flow of water through them will resonate with sound waves that are below the hearing range of a person, but are high enough that they'll vibrate your eardrums. So you don't hear the sound, but your body picks up on it, and it creates that frequency, that resonance creates a natural flight or fright response because it is similar to the low growls of predatory animals. And so your evolutionary heritage kicks in and gives you a sense of foreboding to start up your flight or fight response. So we have found that pipes vibrating in your walls can give you that sense of someone is watching me right now. And you would never know that, but we found that out. And now that's an explanation. And it's traditionally older pipes that do this. That is the explanation for that sense of foreboding in a haunted house. 11 games and a $5 million fine. That's the punishment handed down after a settlement between Deshaun Watson's camp and the league. We said yesterday, why didn't former New Jersey Attorney General Peter Harvey not just issue his punishment a week and a half ago, when the NFL appealed the disciplinary decision handed down by the federal judge, Sue Robinson, a couple of weeks before that. And I told you yesterday, quite literally, Lonzo, minutes before it happened, that the reason that Peter Harvey had not handed down a decision was he was waiting for the potential for a settlement between Deshaun and the NFL, right? Because we knew, as we said yesterday, that a punishment that Deshaun's camp was going to file litigation about would, A, create a big-time lawsuit between the NFL and the PA that would sour an already questionable relationship between the two of them, and B, would likely put the punishment of Deshaun Watson off further, right? Because until a punishment came down, Deshaun would still play. And the NFL didn't want that either. They did not want Deshaun Watson on the field because even though it would have been via the protocols of a disciplinary process, that wouldn't have mattered to the casual fan. To the casual fan who's not plugged into shows like this one, who doesn't listen or pay attention to sports outside of when there are players on the field, all they would have seen was the guy accused of a lot of sexual assault playing football. How is he allowed to play? And they would have cared about the explanation, so the NFL wanted to avoid that as well. So they waited for the decision to come down the pipe until a settlement could be reached, and that settlement was announced minutes after we went off the air yesterday, which, of course, it was. But look, when it comes down to it, this is about, I think, the most the NFL could have asked for before they started treading into the territory of litigation. 11 games is over half a season. 11 games is enough that the NFL can kind of let this get lost in the fray, at least until week 13, when Deshaun Watson is eligible to return to play against the Houston Texans. They also got the $5 million fine. The NFL is going to make a big-time $5 million donation to various charities for victims of sexual assault, etc. So they're going to get to make a big show out of, we took that money away from Deshaun and we're handing it out. On the flip side, Deshaun is going to lose only like $330,000 on top of the $5 million fine, but it does not push that contract back a year, as we have mentioned. That would have caused A, Deshaun to lose money, and B, required Deshaun to potentially stay in the league longer to get the full amount of his paycheck. So he is happy with it. At the end of the day, it was a financial decision for Deshaun Watson, and it was an optics decision for the National Football League. That's where this came from. Is it the appropriate punishment? That's subjective. From what I've seen, a large swath of people still believe it should have been a heftier suspension. But again, that's subjective. Would I have liked to seen it have been a full year? Yeah. Yes, I would have. I would have liked to have seen it cost Deshaun more. $5 million out of a $51 million guaranteed salary is a drop in the bucket, right? It's a drop in the bucket. So would I have liked to see more? Sure. But this was about the most the NFL was going to get without opening up a lawsuit with the NFLPA, which is what they were trying to avoid with this. And they did that. Deshaun signed the dotted line. The PA is going to say, okay, if Deshaun's fine with it, then we're fine with it. It is what it is. That's all this was about. How do we avoid litigation? The $5 million fine was the hinge point for Deshaun. He loses $364,000 worth of salary, which is nothing in the contract he just signed. It does not push his service time back a year. So $5 million to save tens of millions on the back end of the contract was a fair trade for him. And that's all this was about. Your thoughts on the suspension? Texas says this whole Watson decision feels like a wrestling storyline, coincidentally returning to face the Texans. There was a part of me that goes, I wonder if that was intentional, right? I wonder if it was intentional that it was 11 weeks, not 12, 11 to put it back on the field against Houston. Because now all of a sudden that game is the must-watch game of the year.
The better matchup still would have been him playing the first game, Cleveland versus Carolina. Him versus Baker. Yeah, I think that's a bigger story.
We'll get that match down the line. But in order to make that happen, there couldn't have been a suspension, which was not acceptable for the NFL either. All right, we'll bring that up later on in the show. The NFL is in the spotlight on the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate.
I need me a ciphering machine. My adding ain't working in my head. Let's try it again.
It's easy to think all money managers are pretty much the same, but at Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Sell high commission investment products, right?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission-based investment products.
Well, you must earn commissions on trades.
Nope, never at Fisher. We're a fiduciary, prohibited to act in our client's best interest. It's the highest standard of care for a financial advisor.
How did you know what's so
Keegan didn't appear to agree with your explanation there, and
I mean, that's fine.
it's a lengthy, educated.
Correct.
It's explanation that really doesn't say a whole lot. It's like a political answer. It's also like the equivalent of Jay's answer in the original Men in Black, where he tried to get the swamp gas thing but he couldn't quite get the explanation down.
Which y'all
type
saw
thing.
was some
swamp
gas
and it
bouncing
was
off of Venus.
it was Look at this.
Listen.
Look at this red light.
Lad nails it. Many of the ghostly experiences like that where our minds don't get the full information, but our mind wants to make sense of it, so it tries to fill in the blanks to something familiar. That's exactly right. One of the to me, the haughty intellectual, one of the biggest flaws of humanity is that we have created a world where it's not okay to not know something and to say, I don't know, right? We've created a world where it's not okay to say, I don't know. It makes you feel inferior to say, I don't know. Sometimes you can't know. Sometimes you don't know, and it's okay to not know. What it's not okay to do is to not have the answer to something and then just say, this is what the answer is, right? You heard a bump in the night. Oh, it's a ghost. It has to be no. There's a billion real, explainable things that it could be before you get to chalk it up. And even if you do chalk it up to supernatural, before you expect anyone to believe that, you have to prove that that thing exists in the first place.
All right, here's the difference between me and you. Me and you are, let's say we're at my house. We just pulled up. There's a noise in the woods. I'm going in the house because I don't know what that noise is, and I don't want to know what that noise is because I feel like I'm safe going in the house. You will stand there and try to figure out what that noise is as the noise is approaching. I'm okay with not knowing.
Right, okay,
And then
not knowing is exactly what I'm
the
saying.
end of the story is Rob gets mauled by a bear.
But here's the thing. There's a
As he's
difference-
being mauled, he
Wait.
says, "It's a bear."
Hang on. There is a difference between drawing and reacting to an inference versus just, right? Like if
He
we're
just used the
walking
word
to your
inference.
house, if we're walking up your driveway to the house and we hear a large rustling in the woods, right? To just definitively say that's a bear is not correct. You don't know. You don't know. But to react as if it is a bear in case it turns out to be a bear is fine. That's the flight or flight. That's the response to our evolutionary development. If I hear a large rustling in the woods, there are things that we know, right? We know it is something large, we know it is moving, and we know it's in the woods. And then we can draw conclusions based on that. A bear is large, it would rustle, and they do live in the woods. So to react as if it is a bear is fine. That's a way to stay safe. But to declare that it is a bear would not be correct. However, being correct in that moment is not your priority. Being not mauled by a bear is your priority. So saying it's a bear is wrong. But if we're there and that happens and you go, it's a bear, I'm not going to look and go, actually, Longo, you don't know if it's a bear. I'm going to go, yeah, we should get inside. Now, once we're inside and we're safe, then we can do some experiments. We can shine a flashlight out there and see if we see it. We can throw a stake into the front yard and see if the bear comes out of the woods to eat the steak.
All right,
We can do
you're taking
experiments
offense
find
to
out.
this, and my whole thing that I'm saying is if I don't know what something is, I'm getting a safe distance away before I try to figure out what it is. I think the way your mind is, you got to know what it is to explain what it is, and I think that can put you in danger. That's all I'm saying.
No. I can react to something as if it is a thing without believing it is that thing, right? I don't have to believe it is a bear in the woods in order to react as if it is a bear in the woods. I'm not going to stand there and be like, let's go investigate. I'll be like, no, let's get the hell away from this thing in case it is a bear. And then once I'm in a safe spot, then I will investigate to see if it's a bear.
And I will yell out the door, "You're right, Rob. It's a bear."
Our numero dos of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This is the Fan Upstate. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. How do you do? It's great to be with you. I am Rob Brown. Lorenzo is on the ones and twos today. Be a part of the show, 844-FAN phone, 844-FANFONE, 844-326-3663. If you have not been watching the live stream by going to facebook.com/thefanupstate or going to YouTube, searching and subscribing to The Rob Brown Show. Please do so. Please join us. The off-the-air conversation today has been good. We started talking, and we've actually had this conversation on the air. But we started talking about the conversation of believing something is a thing versus reacting if it is that thing, right? And how, to me, you shouldn't say a thing is a thing until you can prove that it is that thing. But however, it is okay to react as if the thing is the thing in order to keep yourself safe, right? Keegan just said, I feel like the next spinoff show should be Paranormal Investigating with Rob and Zoe. That's going to be a much more boring show than you want it to be, Keegan.
No, it would be pretty exciting because I'll bring props. But we've already had kind of a show like that. We did a show on UFOs.
Yeah.
And Mark Ryan and I were on one side, and Rob and Diesel were on the other side. Because even though Mark and I have friction, it's an alpha thing, we do agree on a lot of things. And he and I were on the same side, and Rob and Diesel were on the same side. It was interesting. It was. I believe if we did the supernatural thing, it would probably be the same exact show, except instead of talking about aliens, we'd be talking about ghosts.
It's an alpha thing, he says, implying that Rob's not an alpha.
You're not a violent alpha.
No.
Mark and I are violent. If we had horns like a ram, yes, one of us would be unconscious.
Hour number 2 is going to be a lot of fun, a lot of stuff to get into, a lot of stuff to talk about. How about, ladies and gentlemen, your Atlanta Braves taking 3 out of a 4-game series from the NL East leading New York Mets? A week ago, the Metropolitans had a 6.5 game lead in the NL East. Today, that lead is down to 3.5 games. The Mets are 76-43. The Bravos are 73-47. However, the Braves are also 9-1 in their last 10. 9-1 in their last 10. And yesterday, it came down to the baby Braves. It came down to the young guys. It came down to Vaughn Grissom. It came down to Michael Harris II. It came down to the young cats to put the runs on the board that the Braves needed to get the dub. Max Fried pitched well, 7 innings, surrendered only 4 hits, no walks, 6 strikeouts. A 2-run home run was the only blemish on an otherwise really solid outing. After him came in A.J. Minter, who gave up 1 hit. Jansen came in and gave up 1 hit as well late in the game, but then pitched his way out of the 9th inning that he was brought in to close out. The Braves are 9-1 in their last 10. They have shrunk the Mets' lead down by 3 games and are playing good ball. Now, I bring that up to bring this up. A couple of days ago, the Atlanta Braves made another move on the roster. They locked up their young core by signing an 8-year, $72 million extension with Michael Harris II. The 21-year-old has just signed a contract that will lock him in Atlanta through 2030. It includes team options for both 2031 and 32 at $15 and then $20 million respectively. Harris was the team's top prospect entering the season, leading to a major league call-up back in late May. Since then, hasn't missed a beat. He's hitting .287. He's got 12 dingers, 13 steals, and 39 RBIs in 71 games. Dude is good for an RBI every other game. He was named NL Rookie of the Month back in June. He currently leads all qualified rookies with an .825 OPS. He has played strong defense in the outfield. And the reason I bring this up is he is just the latest baby Brave to get locked in by Alex Anthopoulos, who has pretty much run dry the farm system, but that's okay. Why is it okay? It's okay because the core of this team is now locked in for a while. Dig the core of the Atlanta Braves here. Austin Riley is an NL MVP candidate. Austin Riley started this year at 45-1 odds to win the NL MVP. 3 weeks ago, I told you put a bet on Austin Riley when he was plus 2,500, 2.5-1. Austin Riley today as MVP is floating around 2.5-1. I got him at 10 times the value about 4 weeks ago. Now he's on a tear. If you put $1 down on Austin Riley to begin the year, you got him at 40 times the value that you can get him at today. Matt Olson comes over, replaces Freddie Freeman at first base. Matt Olson's playing good baseball. Had a couple, what is that, sitting at 26, 27 dingers now? He's a 250 batter, 260 batter. Not the best numbers in the world, but pretty in line with what Freddie was doing before he left. Matt Olson is locked in through 2030. Michael Harris II is now locked in till 2030. Ronald Acuna Jr. is locked in through 2028. Vaughn Grissom, who was brought up a couple of weeks ago and has played good ball, had himself in a ribby last night in a big win. Grissom, 2028. Ozzy Albies is banged up right now, but Ozzy was having an also potential NL MVP candidate year. He's locked up through 2027. Spencer Strider has been great off the bump for the ATL, locked in through 2027. William Contreras is an all-star at catcher, locked in through 2027. Kyle Wright has been consistent, not great, but consistent, 2026. And Max Fried, who is the ace, who got the dub last night with 7 innings of 2-run baseball, locked in through 2024. So you got your third baseman through 2032, your first baseman through 30. You got the core of your outfield through 30, 28, and 28. You got your second baseman through 28, your shortstop through 27, your catcher through 27. You got your two best pitchers in Strider and Wright locked in until 27 and 26, and you got your ace locked in for 2 more seasons in Max Fried, and probably going to want to re-sign after that. We get caught up when we talk about sports. We get caught up in talking about what's happening on the field, right? We talk about hitters. We talk about gold gloves. We talk about Cy Youngs. We talk about shutouts and K-props. In football, we talk about yards. We talk about completion percentage. We talk about interceptions. We talk about tackles. We talk about sacks. In basketball, we talk about field goal percentage and points and rebounds and assists and turnovers. And of course we do, because it's the sports that entertain us, right? If I was entertained by business, I would have been a businessman, right? And there are some people who are entertained by the deal. They are entertained by negotiations. They are entertained by contracts and salaries, et cetera, et cetera. There are people that are entertained by that stuff. And those people, they get into that. And they do that for a living. That's how they live their life, right? Those people do that. Okay? If I did that, if I was into that, that's what I'd do too. Because there's a ton of money in that. A boatload of money in that. I'm entertained by sports. Which is why we talk about catches, completion percentage, and yards, and touchdowns, and points, and assists and rebounds, and steals and takeaways and turnovers, and hits, and Ks, and strikeouts, and shutouts, and no-hitters, and Cy Youngs. But if you don't see that a good GM is the difference maker, right? if you don't see that a good GM is a difference maker, if you don't see that a guy who goes nose to the grindstone and gets how to build it is a difference maker, you're not paying attention to top tier teams. You're just not. You're focused on bad teams, right? Part of the reason that there is so much heat from guys like me on guys like Scott Fitterer is because we see what happens with guys like Alex Anthopoulos, right? Now, sure, there's a chance that Anthopoulos blew it and that Riley slows down, that Acuna Jr. ages too quickly, that Vaughn Grissom's on a heater, but he's going to come down because the excitement of being a new, fresh call-up wears off, and he gets caught up in the daily grind of being an MLBer. There's absolutely a chance that these things happen. And that a couple of years down the road, the Braves are bad, and they've got all these guys locked in, and they can't make moves, right? And the Braves fans go, oh, crap. We done signed ourselves up for a decade of mediocrity. But we don't have the evidence to believe that's going to be the case. We have the evidence to believe quite the opposite, that Alex Anthopoulos, as GM of the Braves, knows exactly what he's doing. And he did it last year when he brought in the Jock Petersons of the world. And all of a sudden, the Braves won a World Series, right? So now Anthopoulos has built this young core, and I think we have the empirical evidence necessary to point out that for a lot of teams, not all, but for a lot of teams, having a great general manager might be better for you than having a great manager. Having a great vice president of X-ball operations might be better than having a great head coach, right? Because a really good team can win in spite of mediocrity from the guy holding the clipboard. A great team can win despite a mediocre head coach. A great head coach can take a mediocre team to the top. But a bad GM will tank all of that for you. A GM who makes bad decisions can tank all of that for you. So I think it was Brandon yesterday that tweeted into the show after Michael Harris signed his extension to keep him in the ATL through what, 2030? It was like, Rob, that's a lot of money, right? We're locking a lot of money up with this cat. Yeah, but you're locking it up over a long period of time. And it takes a lot for a GM to get to the point that we say, in this guy, in this gal, we trust. But I think Alex Anthopoulos has earned that from Atlanta fans. The New Orleans Saints had the same situation, right? They've been working under Mickey Loomis for years. But can I tell you what scares me the most about the Atlanta Falcons right now? It's not the team. The team's bad. The Atlanta Falcons are a bad team, and they're going to be bad this year. Frankly, the Carolina Panthers should finish ahead of the Atlanta Falcons this year. If they don't, Matt Rule's fired. They should. What scares me about the Atlanta Falcons is not Marcus Mariota. What scares me about the Atlanta Falcons is not the defense. It is not Arthur Smith. What scares me about the Atlanta Falcons is a cat by the name of Terry Fontenot. Terry Fontenot is the new GM, well, relatively new GM of the Atlanta Falcons. Terry Fontenot, who is 42, so he's got a lot of years left in the game. Terry Fontenot has been an understudy of Mickey Loomis for many moons. Every year, going into the offseason, Saints fans hear, oh, the Saints are in salary cap hell. The Saints are out of room. They got to be sellers. They got to get rid of talent. They don't have any money to move around. They're in trouble. And every year, the Saints get a Jarvis Landry, right? The Saints get a Tyrann Mathieu. Go back to the beginning of this offseason. When the Saints were getting told when the Saints were getting told, you're in cap hell, you can't do anything. Hey, Lonzo, we got a new DB that we just signed. His name's Tyrann Mathieu. How you feel about that kid?
Good and bad.
Why bad?
Well, because he's no longer with the Kansas City Chiefs. And a lot of passion. He's getting a little bit older, but I think he's going to play pretty well for you.
Yeah. Hey, there's a piece for a team that's in cap hell. Hey, the Saints can't make any moves. Lonzo, we just signed a wide receiver by the name of Jarvis Landry. How you feel about that kid?
I have heard of him before. I've
Thought so.
heard that he might be pretty good.
Thought so. Oh, and he's playing across from Michael Thomas, the guy that everybody said we were going to have to sell. Right? That's a good GM. That's a GM that knows how to play the game, that knows how to move money around, that knows how to make things happen. Terry Fontenot learned from Mickey Loomis for years. Terry Fontenot knows how to play that game because he learned from a guy who has been arguably the best in the NFL. Not in terms of compiling talent, but in terms of massaging the numbers to make a great team when you're in salary cap hell. Right? Alex Anthopoulos is that for the Braves. Oh, and BT Dubs, as James just pointed out a second ago. Michael Harris Jr. signed earlier this week. Last night it broke. You know what Alex did when he signed Michael Harris Jr. on Tuesday night to that extension? You know what he woke up Wednesday morning and did? He called Dansby Swanson, the shortstop, and said, hey, Swan Song, what do you say you come in and we talk about a new contract? What do you say you come in and we pay you some more money, my guy? And Dansby will have an extension within the next 2 weeks, right? So now you got your right fielder locked up till 28. You got your center fielder locked up. You got your left fielder locked up. You got your third baseman locked up. You got your first baseman locked up. You got your second baseman and his backup locked up. You got your shortstop's backup locked up. You're about to lock up the shortstop. You got your catcher locked up. You got your top 3 pitchers in the rotation locked up. You know how good a team can be when you've got a core that's as good as the Braves is and they are all that committed, right? They are all committed through 2027 with the exception of Max Fried, who is signed through 2024, which lets you reevaluate in 24 if you want to pay him Cy Young money in 25 to bring him back. But if he's going to get Cy Young money and he's performing at a Cy Young level, you get to go to Max Fried and go, hey, you know all those guys that you won a World Series with, that won a World Series back a couple of years ago? You remember all those guys that you've had success with the last 2 years? They're all here for another 2 to 5. Are you in, big fella? I'd say it's a pretty compelling argument. A successful GM, a talented GM, can be as, if not more, important to your squad than a great head coach. And the Braves are proving that literally as we speak. Let's take a break. We're back after this. Rob, Lorenzo, and you. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is the Fan Upstate.
Risma.
All right, we're back. James said the Saints play with the salary cap off. It feels like it. It really does. Listen, as a Saints fan, there's absolutely a part of me that thinks like at some point the chickens are coming home to roost for the Saints, right? Like at some point, it's going to catch up with us. At some point, we're going to have played with the cap too long and we're going to have to burn the whole thing down and start over. But the window is open right now, right? The window is open right now. So if the window's open, try to get through it. At some point, the window's going to close, and then a hard reset is necessary. Do they call it squatching? Is that what it's called? Squatching?
Look up squatching t-shirts. First time I saw one, there's a guy named Michael Rosenbaum. He used to play, he's been Flash and a bunch of other things. He wears it on his podcast all the time.
There is a shirt that has a Bigfoot and it says undefeated hide and seek champion. There are a million gone squatching and squatching since 86 t-shirts. Wow. Wow.
They have hats too. The hats are pretty cool.
He's 1-4 in his career against the Giants with an ERA close to 5. With those trends in mind, the BetQL 5-star play of the day is to take the Giants on the money line over Arizona.
In the wee hours of the night, when everyone else is fast asleep, you're the one on third shift, burning the midnight oil. When a part fails and everything comes to a grinding halt, regardless of what the clock on the wall says, you leap into action. Granger is with you and all the ones who get it done. With 24/7 customer support by phone or click to chat. Call, clickgranger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
By the way, if you Google best spots to find Bigfoot, there are a ton of stories, including the Travel Channel, telling you different places to go.
Literally, that's the first thing that came up. The 8 best places to see Bigfoot right now. Number 1, in your dreams. Number 2, under the state of hallucinogenic narcotics. Washington, a reported 2,032 Bigfoot sightings. Ape Canyon, the locale of one of the most aggressive Bigfoot encounters ever recorded. In 1924, a group of miners reported being attacked by multiple Sasquatch, which allegedly threw rocks at their cabin and tried to break in. Years after the notorious attacks, an experienced skier vanished near the very same locale. Making these events even more intriguing is the fact that native legend has long told of a species of ape men living on nearby Mount St. Helens. All right, so Bigfoot.
Which were wiped out in probably 1984 when Mount
Yeah.
St. Helens erupted.
Yeah,
So-
no, definitely. And,
So we won't be able to find
right,
traces.
right, right. And we definitely don't find fossils and bones of dead creatures anywhere.
Well, they're buried underneath, a whole lot of lava.
And we definitely have not done any natural wildlife research on Mount St. Helens to study the reaction of wildlife to a catastrophic event, which has led to the discovery
No,
of all
because
types
most of
animal
those
stuff.
scientists have the mentality of Rob Brown, so they're not going there looking for Sasquatch.
No, you do not in science go looking for a conclusion. You don't. You go see what you find and then draw your conclusion from that, not the other way around. Having a belief and finding evidence for it is a flawed way of doing science. You don't believe in something and then go prove it. You go find evidence and see what it proves. Yo, if you're not watching the stream right now, I am like one haughty lecture away from getting a tweed jacket with elbow patches on it.
He's almost gotten tenure.
Yeah. USC is gonna hire me as a professor soon.
When he gets tenure, look out, because he can get away with anything.
Telling you, man. Anyway, on my computer screen right now is, if you're wondering how the stream is going for me, the 8 best places to hunt Bigfoot right now.
And I don't know if Rob's mad at me or not, but I may have involved another host from another show in the Sasquatch thing just because it's something I want to see.
Oh, I fully suspect the next time that I sit down on the Upstate Pulse, it's going to get weird.
Oh, I was talking about Cody Decker. You didn't notice that.
Oh, no, I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw you having. I saw you
wait a
making me
minute,
wear a I believe in Bigfoot T-shirt if I lose another bet on that show.
The Rob said the Upstate Pulse and weird like that's not a thing. I mean, come on.
All right. Friday we do weird stories. Friday we do fun. By the way,
Squatching T-shirt or Vegemite? I think you're going with the Squatching T-shirt.
Bro, I will dress as Bigfoot before I eat Vegemite again. Do you understand? I will dress as Bigfoot and go sleep in any woods in America before I eat Vegemite again.
All right, James says this logic is going to invite major hill heat from some of the locals. Oh, it already has.
Bring it.
It already has.
Bring it, because I'm not wrong. All right? I'm just not.
I'm the people's champ. I got you. So does Lorenzo.
I love Chris Farley. Always have. As physical comedy goes, Chris Farley is the best, right? I have usually said dudes that you make a career out of exaggerated body language drive me nuts, right? That's why I'm not a huge Jim Carrey fan, for instance. Conan O'Brien is one of my least favorite late night hosts because I think so much of his look, I'm tugging on my hip with a string. I cut it, my hips went back. Look at me shake my hair around. Not a Conan guy for that exact reason. I am a Chris Farley guy. You know why? Because Chris Farley committed to physical comedy. If Chris Farley's script said characters falls through a table, Chris Farley attacked that table like it owed him money. All right? One of Chris Farley's greatest characters and greatest lines was the motivational speaker routine that he did on Saturday Night Live, right?
Which nearly broke Christina Applegate.
Oh, yeah. And a lot of other people who stared down Matt Foley, motivational speaker, living in a van down by the river. Which, let's be real, all of us quote all of the time. You have all said living in a van down by the river.
My wife and I were watching something, and there was a van down. Oh, it was on the Magnolia channel, which is an awesome channel if you're into things being renovated. And there was a van down by the river, and she mentioned,
yeah,
look, it's a van by the river.
Down by the river. Well, I have a new favorite athlete. I've been telling you guys that golf has been looking for a hero for years. Golf has been looking for a hero for years. We have been holding out for a hero till the end of the night. He's got to be strong, and he's got to be fast, and he's got to be fresh from the fight. Golf needs a hero.
You sound just like Bonnie Tyler.
And now we have it. Binghamton, New York is the site of the Dick's Sporting Goods Open Qualifier at the links at Hiawatha Landing. Lonzo, what's the furthest you've ever driven just to do something you wanted to do? Not for a job. Just, I want to do that thing, so I'm willing to drive. What's the furthest you've driven to do a thing that you just wanted to do?
Maybe just a couple hours, but
Yeah.
I'm not a good example.
Fair?
I mean, the furthest drive I've ever had was coming here or going home,
Yeah.
which is like 10 to 12 hours.
I've driven a little further. You know, when I lived in Destin, I would frequently drive the 7.5 hours to Orlando because I wanted to go see Star Wars Weekend at MGM. right? I have driven from Florida up to North Carolina because I wanted to go see a sporting event. I've driven 7-8 hours, but that's usually about like 7 hours, 7.5, maybe 8 is about the length where I'm like, nope, no further than that. If I need to go further than that, I'll fly. And up until recently, Rob's not buy plane tickets money. All right. Well, Tim Bogue. Tim Bogue is from Sonoma. He's from Sonoma County. That, Lonzo, is in California.
I knew that, but thank you.
I'm really just saying this to emphasize a point. California. Sunshine's from California, y'all. The golf tournament that Tim Bogue wanted to play in just to test his mettle, see if maybe he could earn an amateur spot at the Open, was in Syracuse, New York. Now, some of you like me may have been bad at geography. Sonoma, if you look at a map of the United States, is all the way on one side of it. And New York, if you look at that map of the United States, is the exact opposite side. Those 2 points can only barely get further away from each other on a map of the United States of America. Tim Bogue decided, bleep it. I'm going for it. See, but Tim Bogue is a longshoreman. A longshoreman is a dude who helps load cargo on and off of ships before they sail across the world. That's a hard job. That's a blue-collar job. My dude gets on a boat and helps load and offload cargo. But he also plays golf. And he's pretty good. So, Tim Bogue needed to get to New York. Now, for a lot of us, you'd go, I'm flying, right? But for Tim Bogue, for whatever reason, I don't know what the reason is, but for whatever reason, Tim Bogue decided not to fly from literally one side of the country to literally the opposite side of the country. So Tim Bogue rented a van, and he drove from Sonoma County, California, just outside of Oakland, to Syracuse, New York, to play in the Dick's Sporting Goods Open qualifier at the links at Hiawatha Landing. Well, he arrived at Hiawatha Landing the night before the tournament. And Tim Bogue, who I assume probably doesn't have a ton of money because he didn't fly, for whatever reason, didn't get a hotel room either.
I don't know. With the price of gas, flying probably...
It's stupid expensive.
Maybe he has a great fear of flying.
Maybe.
Like me.
He might be in Club Zoe, just refuses to fly. Either way, he also apparently is anti-hotel room because Tim Bogue, a longshoreman from Oakland, just outside of Oakland in Sonoma County, drove the entire span of the continental United States of America, got to the tournament, and slept in his van down by the river. And then you know what he did the next day, Lonzo? He woke up, he shot a 64, and he beat the field by 3 strokes.
I think he bathed in the river before. I'm guessing clubhouses probably have showers. I've never been in one.
I got to assume.
Yeah. All right.
So he didn't get a hotel because apparently he got to the golf course just a few hours before he was scheduled to tee off. So instead of getting a hotel room for 2 or 3 hours of sleep, he just said, whatever. Cranked into the back of the van, knocked out a few Z's, popped up, and kicked everybody's rear end. A 64 in his opening round. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. So anyway, Tim Bogue is a new American hero. Get out of the way, Tiger. Look out, Ricky. Sit down, Dustin. Because there's a new American hero in town. His name is Tim Bogue. Literal cross-country adventurer turned golf badass in his van down by the river. Love this guy. I'm a big Tim Bogue fan now. Now he's got to head back and drive back to California, because that's the thing. It's not the drive from Cali to New York. It's playing 3 days of golf and then driving from New York back to Cali to get there and go back to loading and unloading cargo. What a look. What a look. New Tim Bogue guy right over here. Let's take a break. When we come back, it is week 0 of high school football, ladies and gentlemen. Burns is at home against Brooklyn Casey. There's a handful of other games taking place around the area. We're going to run through those with Kevin and John of Moving the Chains. They make their triumphant return to the show next on The Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. They are here. Oh, and they're matching shirts. Look at that. Oh, the whole crew came. Britain's with Ghost. Yeah.
Hey, remember?
Yeah, we're on the stream right now.
Yeah.
So. Good.
I love it.
That's not a business card. That's a big business ninja star. They're cool, bro. Yeah, man.
Yeah, we meet with them.
Good.
Exploratory.
Good. I like it. I like it. Pull up a chair for us.
If we do a lunch or something next
Yeah,
time,
man.
tie you in. You're cool with that?
100% am. Johnny boy, how you doing, pal?
Pretty good. How you been?
Good, man.
Well, I see you. You've been.
What's that?
I've seen how you've been island hopping.
Living that dream, pal. Living that dream. Life's good when you've got a.
Do y'all mute the stream during the breaks?
I will real quick.
No, I just didn't know.
No, we usually don't.
Have to.
No, we've been having a wonderful conversation
Talking
about
about
Bigfoot and other things, and
Bigfoot's not real.
Rob's disbelief in
Am
everything.
I sure? No. Do I have a reason to believe that he is real? No.
The baseball team in Charleston, West Virginia, broke out the Mothman jerseys.
All right.
He's real.
For the record, I do love the stories about this
I've
stuff.
fought the Mothman in Fallout 76. He's no joke.
By the way, I appreciate you kicking me out of the gang. I saw you boys playing last night. Jumped on. No, man, no.
Shoot me a text.
Saw you and Shorty and Brad running.
Shoot me a text.
Can't believe you did that to you.
Shoot me a text. No steroids. Nice.
You're not getting tested, are you?
You and Fernando Tatis. Ringworm.
How about Fernando's dad coming out? God.
I didn't read the label.
Yeah.
He got a bad haircut, so he got ringworm. What?
Dude.
The best part was David Ortiz's take was, oh, he's a baby. Basically, what he was saying was he's the face of baseball, great player. Let's just not suspend him.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, whoa. We're going back to the McGuire Sosa years. We're just gonna let everybody do steroids now. We don't care.
I'll sell tickets, okay?
That was a good take by David.
Of course he's gonna say that.
How about the Bravos last night, Kmart?
Big to get the
That's a
3 out of
good
4 was
dub.
Nice. 3 out of 4 was nice. Oh, who could catch him? But just keep doing what we can do, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, taking 3 out of 4 from him helps.
Yeah.
Cut that lead in half.
What time you heading over tonight?
I'm getting out of here, going home to get the rest of my equipment. I'm going over there and hoping somebody will let me in the press box to get everything set up at like 2. Well, it's just because it's week 1 and I need to get the setup. Yeah, week 0. No, it's week 1.
Fox
It's
make
week
it seem like they're gonna be out there at 4.
What game are they doing?
Oh shit! You know what? They're doing Greenville Dorman.
Okay,
Never mind.
yeah. Well, no, I mean it's week 1. Week 1 starts this Friday and runs all the way through next Friday. And I just, like I said, I haven't set it up before, so I just like to get there way early, and then I gotta sit down and interview Coach Shaw.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure I got time to do all that.
Are you playing those interviews from there? Or are you going to send it to Tim?
I'll probably just play it from there,
Okay.
or I'll send it to
You
Tim.
just we kind of need to know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna send it to Tim because I don't know. Well, I'm not gonna bring my. Well, no, I'll probably bring the board. I don't know. I'll let you know when I get there and set it up and see what the setup is. You'll know by
your
like
decisiveness
you'll
is
know
awesome.
you'll know by like 3:30.
Okay.
Did they send you a roster for BC by chance? I've got a Burns one. But I haven't seen.
Whose is this? That's us. All right, that's their starters.
So at the end of the year, what do you guys predict? Which stadium is Rob's going to say is the best high school stadium?
Do you go to Dorman?
Let's say just
He is going to Dorman.
What about Gaffney? They play at Gaffney this year.
I don't know if they do or not.
I think Dorman or Gaffney.
Yeah.
I haven't been to
Gaffney
Spartanburg
best-
since they built that. I don't know how.
Actually, that's
I
a
need
good
it.
point.
Dorman
What
best
email you
stadium,
want to?
Gaffney probably best atmosphere.
It's not honestly lunchtime.
I don't think I've been to Gaffney since the. Well, maybe I have.
You got it.
I know I was at the old one, but I don't know if I went to the new one.
The
I
new
haven't
one's
been there
sick.
since I was a
New
little
one's
kid.
sick.
You know what? Actually, I think I have been there, but it was for softball and walked over to the stadium and checked
Right.
it out.
James said this is the point of the year where the Mets collapse. I don't know, man. This team's better than they've
Yeah,
ever
they're a
been
little
before.
different.
They got too much pitching. I mean, as long as they're healthy.
Yeah.
You know, I
I
mean,
mean, DeGrom was aces last night. We had to chase him.
Yeah.
If DeGrom was full health and not on a pitch count last night, that's a different game. Steven says Dorman is going to be the team to beat this season.
that's interesting.
Lad, why did you drive from Pensacola to Little Rock, Arkansas regularly? Did you owe somebody money? What's the furthest you've ever driven to do something you wanted to do? Not flown, driven.
To do something?
Yeah.
That I
Not
wanted- that I
work.
wanted to do.
Not work. Just like something you wanted to do.
Like family trips count?
I
Whatever.
think 10, 11 hours.
We
10, 11.
South
New
Florida.
York.
Okay, New York's what, like 10 hours from here?
I
9?
was like 18.
How far is West Paul from here?
18? No way it's 18.
No, I was 18.
Oh. I thought you said it was like, I was like, no way it was 18.
You're driving real slow.
Right?
He's wanting to fight today, so just be careful.
I don't wanna
Just let
fight.
you guys know. He's just-
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. This is the Fan Upstate, and we are happy to have back with us for the first time in a while. The boys from the Moving the Chains podcast, which you can find where major podcasts are found. And also, make sure you're following their Facebook page because they do live interviews with coaches and players. It's, if you're a high school football fan in the Upstate, the podcast to check out. Moving the Chains, Kevin Thomas, John Epps joining us. So what's up, KT? How you doing, buddy?
Rob, good to see you, man. Football's back. Excited to get out there on a Friday night.
Yes, indeed. John Boy, what's happening, fella?
I'm doing great. Excited for today. Hope we dodge the rain.
Yeah. Don't just
Don't even put that in the
just
universe.
don't.
If I talk about it, maybe I can jinx it.
I like it. Facebook.com/moving chains, no G because they are cool like that, but no Z either because they're not quite that cool. Facebook.com/moving chains. You can follow them on Twitter and Instagram at moving chains and grab the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcasts. It's the Moving the Chains podcast. Boys, you can call it week 0 if you'd like. It's week 1. It's just that week 1 has 2 Fridays included in it. But let's jump into them, and we will start. We're going to Dorman tonight. Greenville is at Dorman this evening. Greenville's kind of an interesting team because it seems like they lost a lot of pieces, but it also seems like they got a hefty amount of guys coming back who got some significant PT last year. Dorman, on the other hand, new head coach, new quarterback, running back. I mean, they are a team that is going to be trying to establish its identity out the gate. Good news for Dorman is it is at home, and from what I understand, Dorman's got a pretty comfortable spot to play the homers at. Break this one down for me.
Yeah, Dorman under new head coach Justin Curtis is going to be an interesting team to follow this year. You know, they've had some, I wouldn't say lean years the past couple. They haven't been as good as they had been previously under Coach Gutshaw. Got a really good running back, the Foster kid there, a huge offensive line, Marky Anderson, DJ Geth, both D1 commits. They've got some good athletes outside like DJ Porter and whatnot. I think they're going to be able to run the ball pretty well. Greenville, they've got to figure out the quarterback situation. They're kind of trying to figure out what they're going to do there. I think the Cavaliers at home win this ball game tonight.
I tell you what, I agree with you, Kevin. I think Dorman's going to win this game, but Greenville is such a fun team to watch. They've got all kind of weapons on the outside with Brown, Mazio, They are a really, really good football team. How they replace the world pro Franklin from last year is going to be tough. But Greenville is a really, really good team. Dustin Curtis over at Dorman, a really exciting coach, super successful AC floor. This is going to be a really fun game to watch. Could be a shootout.
Gaffney is at South Point. This one is on Saturday night, but really interesting because you got a pair of defending state champs going at it, the 5A versus the 4A state champ. Gaffney has a Duke commit, Grayson Loftus under center. Throw a little knowledge at me on this one, John.
I'll tell you what, Gaffney did last year what no one outside of Cherokee County thought they could do. They knocked off the Dutch Fork Silver Foxes down for the state championship last year. So they are riding high. And the scary thing for South Point and the rest of the state of South Carolina, Gaffney returns a lot of that talent from that state championship team. But they're facing another state champion in the Stallions. This should be an awesome, awesome game with a ton of talent on both sides of the field.
Yeah, South Point breaking in a new head coach as well with Bobby Collins. What worries me about them early in the year is a new quarterback. Same thing kind of with Greenville. They've got Malachi, Malachi Marshall taking over there, taking the reins. Got some good athletes around him, Caleb Sims, DJ Barstow, etc. I think Gaffney, too much talent, too tough up front. I think they win this game Saturday night.
Travelers Rest down at Riverside. Man, we got like a blitz of new head coaches around the area. New head coach Michael Lancaster, longtime Dorman offensive line coach, steps under the headset there for TR. Riverside has dropped from a 5A to a 4A team. And a couple of teams have gone through realignment. We got some new divisions that we're going to talk about as the season progresses. But Kevin, you guys put down next to Riverside that this is a sneaky sleeper team in the area.
Yeah, last year in 5A they got off to a 6-0 start, and the quarterback got hurt, and that kind of derailed their season there. This year, they've got him back. They've got the receiver, the Crosby kid, back as well. Some really good talent around him. Defense has kind of grown up. They're a team that can make some noise in 4A this season, I feel like.
Yeah, I'm really excited about Riverside getting to drop down to 4A. They got Rob Sanders back, awesome quarterback. And this is typically, you guys know this here in the upstate, Riverside, you think, oh, baseball. You think spring sports. Now, these guys, they're turned into a football school. Last year, they proved themselves and proved to everybody else they can win. I expect Riverside to start off on the right foot tonight with a big win tonight.
Lawrence at Hillcrest. You've got you put a lot of names down on this one on guys to keep an eye on, but special teams could be a big role in this one.
I tell you what, Hillcrest is going to be one of the most exciting teams to watch in the upstate, really in the entire state this year, with the amount of talent they have on the offensive side of the ball, led by quarterback Bennett Judy. Hillcrest had an early exit in the playoffs last year, so they're going to have a little bit edge to them. They're going to have something to prove, and that's going to start tonight.
Yeah, Lawrence is an interesting team, too, on the other side there. Quarterback James Raw, receiver Kason Elledge, a Davidson commit there. They've got some pieces that can score a little bit, but I just don't think they can keep up with Hillcrest and Judy and McFadden and those guys tonight, I don't believe.
Spartanburg, Langston Heights. You've got a D1 caliber quarterback in this game. Talk to me about the Berg and what the folks over there can expect tonight, even though they're on the road.
Yeah, quarterback Raheem Jeter recently decommitted from West Virginia. His recruiting is back open. Lots of talent around him, Drake Carter, Andrew Denton, and things like that. Langston Hughes, John, I think you got their list up. They've got tons of D1 talent on their side.
Yeah, Spartanburg has got their work cut out for them tonight. This Langston Hughes High School, they've got 4-star athletes all over the field. They've got a safety. He's committed to Auburn, an offensive tackle going to Georgia. And the scariest thing I think about them is their tight end. We're talking about a 6'6", 225-pound, 4-star tight end going up to Columbus to play at Ohio State next year. If Spartanburg can put down a pretty good game tonight, look out for these guys.
Seneca at Wade Hampton, a not great streak on the line here for Wade Hampton, trying to break out of that tonight.
Yeah, the Generals, another team going from 5A to 4A, have lost 24 in a row, Rob. I don't know if they can get a win tonight, but I think it's coming soon. This will be a good chance for them, but hopefully they can get that streak broken here in the next couple weeks.
Seneca's not going to give it to them. We've seen Seneca play. They can play some football. Hopefully we got a good game, though. Pulling for Wade Hampton here.
All right, and the game that everybody's looking forward to, guys, 30 to 40 minutes on how handsome the play-by-play guy for Burns is. Brooklyn Casey at Burns tonight. Burns got a new quarterback in the rotation tonight in Shaw. Mac Long could be a stud. I mean, this team's got a lot of talent. Brooklyn Casey, however, a very confident team, kind of an interesting team from what I've seen in that they'll run a wing T offense at you, but it does not mean that it's a power ISO team. They got a lot of versatility.
Yeah, they're a super fun team. Quarterback Tanner Staten, the Elon commit, is really a dual threat guy, and he's not scared. He'll run you over. He'll throw the ball. He'll do whatever it takes to win the game. They got some athletes now, Ezekiel Mays, things like that around him. I think the thing is, Burns being the 5A school, they're going to have the depth advantage over BC, who's a 3A school, but they're not going to have necessarily a talent advantage. It just comes down to who wants it more tonight, I feel like, John.
Yeah, I tell you what, and I got the pleasure to see this Brooklyn Casey team last year. They went up to Chapman, and they kind of bullied Chapman around. It was a very good, very close game. But this is a BC team. They're not going to come in intimidated. This is going to be a fun one at Nixon Field tonight.
That game will be live right here on the Fan Upstate. Rob Brown will be on the call. Hey, that's me. We'll be on the call. Boys, appreciate you coming in. It's good to have you back. And real quick before we get out of here, you guys are going to be doing on Friday nights a Twitter Spaces where people can chime in and hear you guys break down games, give scores, and leave their own thoughts.
Exactly. Yeah, hop in Moving Chains on Twitter. Basically, when the game's done, we'll go through some scores. If you were at a game, you're happy to talk and give us your thoughts on that game as well. So, really cool kind of wrap-up show to end the night there over on Twitter.
Yeah, I'll pop in. Thanks for asking.
Come on, Rob. We need you.
MovingChains.com. Brand new website. You can go there and follow all the scores. Boys, we'll see you next Friday.
Thanks,
Appreciate it, Rob.
Let's go. That is Kevin Thomas, John Epps, Moving the Chains podcast, available where podcasts are found. We're back after this for Hour 3 of the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Outstanding, Phyllis. Outstanding. Welcome back. Welcome back. Yeah, I went on Game Pass and downloaded a bunch of new games, and then I saw an article where I guess Warzone's going down in a couple of weeks because they're with the new game they're rolling out a new Warzone, but there's going to be like a month and a half where it doesn't exist. Like they're taking Warzone down. I want to say it was like late September, and then the new Warzone doesn't go live till like mid-November. So, what am I going to do? Play a bunch of Star Wars? Joe said Dorman Stadium is nicer than my college stadium was. I have not seen it in person yet, but I've seen pictures of it, and it looks like a damn Division II school.
All right, so we some of us are known to build things up a little bit. There's no building up on this. It's not. Press box is nice too, by the way. You're gonna love a good bit of the away press boxes.
Yeah.
In our current economy, you've got to make every dollar count. That's why Founders
It's moving
The chains.
the chains. You
Moving,
said something
no
different.
G.
Moving the chains.
Moving the chains.
All right.
facility running, no matter the weather or supply chain pickup. But we get you, Raymond in Buffalo and Maria in Miami, Jules in Minneapolis, and Stan in Central Indiana, taking control of everything that's under your control. At Granger, we're here for you with experienced branch staff at over 250 locations, so you get the product you're looking for. Call clickgranger.com or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Nobody protects you from mayhem like Allstate. I'm a really big tree near your garage. Now, I'm a really big tree on your garage. And car. And if you don't have the right insurance, the cost to fix this could leave you wishing money grew on trees. So bundle your home and auto with Allstate to save up to 25% and be better protected from mayhem, like me.
Got to get really clever on the chapters to fit things in 75 characters.
Yeah.
I'm doing it, of course, because I'm awesome, but you know,
I'm as humble as I am good looking.
without a doubt. Concert in the first break.
The third, the final, the best, the money hour of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This is the fan upstate.
You need to save some of that, man. You got to give some of that to the people tonight.
You know, it's interesting doing play-by-play because, well, let's be real. I got this job because I came in here for my audition and I just blew the doors off the joint and they wanted somebody with energy. I got the podcast because of that. I got Bet for the Cycle, our nationally syndicated baseball gambling show, because of that, right? Play-by-play is interesting because you can't do that for every play, right? There was a dude, is a dude, who calls play-by-play for Florida Gator football. His name's Mick Hubert. And, you know, obviously when I was down in Florida, our station, one of the stations I was on at the time, we had two. One was the official home for Florida State football, the other for the University of Florida. And I used to listen to Mick Hubert's games. And Mick always intrigued me because when Mick Hubert is on the call, you can't tell what the result of the play is, right? Like until he tells you specifically, because Mick screams at every play like it's winning the damn natty. Mick could be like, turns and hands it off. It's a Gator run on the right-hand side. And down he goes for a gain of 1 yard. You're like, what the hell? What? What was that? You can't. You gotta reserve the big play call for the big game moments.
By the way, Daredevil just called in. He's a guy I've been calling for years,
Yeah.
and he listens to high school football all the time. And he says, be prepared for a critique of your play call.
I want it. How many times do I
At
invite
this-
you guys into the show to tell me what you like, what you don't, what I suck at, what I'm great at? Like, I want your feedback.
You've done play-by-play before, so
Yeah.
at this point, you've probably developed a style. I've heard bits and pieces in the office of what you've done. Would it be hard to change your style if someone said, "Hey, could you just do a little bit more of this or a little less of this"? Would it be difficult?
Not really, and here's why. I have done play-by-play football before, but the sport I've done the most play-by-play at is basketball. And basketball is kind of interesting, or I guess it's kind of different, in that with basketball, there are breaks in the action, but obviously they're more few and far between, right? With football, 1 out of every 6 plays, 7 plays tops, might be a call that makes you turn the volume slider down a little bit. Basketball, you could have 6 or 7 in a row, and if 2 teams get on a run, you might have 2-3 minutes where it's just high energy. It's just go, 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 go. Football, there's even after a big play, right? Getting real hype. 32-yard run off the right-hand side. He gets knocked down at the 4-yard line out of bounds, and now it's 1st and goal for Burns. But there's 35 seconds before the next play starts up that you got to fill. So, I will tell you, I haven't done high school football in about 5 years. It's been 4 or 5 seasons since I've done football. So, I don't suspect, because I'm good at everything with a microphone, I don't suspect it's going to take me too long to knock the ring rust off and get back into it. But if you are listening to high school football, you have a direct say in what that sounds like. I want you. You can, in fact, you'll be able to, if you're on Twitter, you'll be able to live tweet me during the show. If you're not on Twitter, you can email me during the show because my email goes to my phone, rob.brown@thefanupstate.com. rob.brown@thefanupstate.com. Go ahead and save it in your contacts. Tell me what you want more of. Tell me what you want less of. Bring it all. I want it all. I want to know what you like and what you don't. But yeah, it's like you said. If it's a 1-yard off-guard run, I'm not going to be bringing you, I'm not going to be screaming into the microphone for that.
All right, so I've been present for every Burns play-by-play guy in the last, 10 or 15 years, however long we've carried them in the building. And I'm going to be curious about what your long break for a touchdown sounds like from an octave standpoint. I mean, are you going to go up an octave or two? Because there's been some guys that are low-key voices, and then they hit that octave that you're just like, wait a minute, did that guy just do that? I think you're going to keep it pretty steady, but I don't know. Till the heat of the battle, till I actually hear you do it. I'm looking forward to that, to not the first touchdown, but like the unexpected touchdown, like a defender picking off the ball and running it back.
Pick six?
Yeah, pick six. That's what I want to hear.
Which, by the way, I got to tell you, I can tell you one of the reasons I'm super excited about this team. I was at practice on Monday, and they were running through DB drills, right? Position groups, DB drills. And now I was kind of standing on the other side of the field, so I didn't see exactly who it was that said it. But one of the coaches is putting a DB blitz into the package, right? And when they put this blitz in, it's well, I'm not going to tell you what it is because I don't want to give away game plan, but suffice to say there's a blitz coming and they kind of disguise it, and then they roll a man over into where that area was vacated from to cover that zone. And dude says that, I don't know which coach it was that said it, but he goes, boys, I'm telling you right now, if you execute this, if you don't tip it away and you execute this, we will get a pick six in this game, right? Like, that's rocks, right? To look these kids in the face and be like, I am telling you that the game plan I'm putting in right now is so damn good that if you do what I'm telling you and you do it right, you will get a pick six as the defense.
I'm sure he's also looked at film and knows the tendencies of the quarterback on the other side of the ball and things like that factor into
Sure.
that. All
right, here I'll do this for you. Here you go, Lonzo. You ready for a play call? I'll give you a play call. Let me warm up. I haven't done this in a while. Turning wheels are on, right? I'm gonna go back to I don't know when this game was. I just pulled up a random New Orleans Saints touchdown, right? I haven't seen it yet. All I know is Michael Thomas scores on this play. And I'll give it to you. Why not? I got to warm up a little bit, right? Situation, Saints trail the Steelers 28-24. There's a minute 28 to go left in the fourth quarter. It is 2nd and goal from New Orleans. They are just inside of their 2-yard line. Drew Brees back in the shotgun with Alvin Kamara lined up to his right, twin wide receivers to the left, a single wide receiver on the near side. That's number 13, Michael Thomas. Brees back in the pocket, takes the snap, looks out to the right. He's scrambling away from the defender, throws it to the corner. Michael Thomas catches. Did he get it in? He did! Michael Thomas with the layout catch reaches back with the football to tap the inside of the pylon. And with a minute and 13 seconds left on the clock. The New Orleans Saints have taken the lead away from the Steelers. What a throw from Breeze. What a catch from Thomas. Saints take the lead late.
Yeah, I'm going to have to talk to Tim.
Hey, Tim, you know how you like to, you know how you can kind of, put the game on and then just kind of, let it coast? Nope.
He doesn't do that. He absolutely pays attention, but he's going to have to because you're overmodulating with a microphone that you're pulling your head back from, and you're going to be wearing a headset mic. And I'm more worried about digitizing to the point that it makes the Comrex cancel, which can happen, by the way. It absolutely can happen. So might need that backup tonight.
All right, jokes aside, I do have a bit of breaking news, Alonzo. This breaking news coming out of Atlanta. Breaking news brought to you by our friends at BetQL. Be a better, be smarter, beat the books with our friends at BetQL. And make sure you're tuned in Saturdays from 1 to 5 on the Odyssey app, on the BetQL app, or on Twitch to Bet for the Cycle, your favorite nationally syndicated baseball gambling show with me and Cody Decker, 1 to 5 tomorrow. It's Bet for the Cycle. Marcell Ozuna of the Atlanta Braves has been arrested for DUI and failure to maintain lane. The 31-year-old outfielder and designated hitter was booked into the Gwinnett County Jail at 4:30 a.m. this Friday morning. Earlier this morning, of course, Ozuna was already in a bit of hot water as he was arrested last year and charged with felony assault after Sandy Springs police say they witnessed him choke his wife. He did return to the Braves for this season after serving a suspension for that penalty. Now Ozuna has been picked off for a DUI and failure maintain lane. That seems like it's bad. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you now, he's done. He's done. You know, the Braves kind of, not that they overlooked, he ate his suspension. The Braves pulled the, we believe in second chances. We believe this was a bad judgment call, but he's a good guy routine last year after he choked out his wife, which was not a great look and not a happy day for me as a Braves guy. Ozuna's the guy that in the games I've been to this year, when he comes to the dish, I have a seat, right? But Ozuna picked up for another DUI. As Joey B just said a second ago, Ozuna isn't good enough to get in this much trouble. Man, I don't care if you're an all-star, right? I don't care if you're an all-star. No. My dude, you weren't on a short leash after that last year. The Braves snatched you up and were holding the collar. You can't, man. Ozuna's got to be gone now. That's not to say that he won't pop up later on. He won't end up elsewhere. But you had your shot, man. You had your second chance, and you blew it. I still, to this day, will never understand why it is that when you're a multimillionaire baseball player, that you can't get a frickin' Uber. You know what I mean? Why is it when you make $1 million a year swinging a bat, you can't call a cab? Hell, call Alex Anthopoulos at 4:30. Alex, I need to go home, but I got tanked, man. Well, we're disappointed you did that with such a big series coming up this weekend, but I'm glad you called me instead of getting behind the wheel. But Ozuna did that. The Braves have got to move on from this cat. You got to be done with it. Skrilla's telling me that he said Ozuna is now done with the Bravos. He's released later today. Yeah, I'm sure. Which is too bad because this was an opportunity because the Atlanta Braves just took 3 out of 4 from the Mets. And do you know who they open up against today? They open up a series with the reigning, defending American League champion Houston Astros. This is a major series. They've got a 3-setter against the A's, the Astros, the good A's, the H-Town Astros. The Rockets are coming to town. You've got an opportunity to take a couple away from the leaders in the American League and prove that taking 3 out of 4 against the Mets was not a fluke. And now you got Marcelo Zuna, your DH, who could have been big in this series. Who's about to get cut because he couldn't not drink and drive. That's an idiot move, dude. It's an idiot move. It's a dumb move, right? It's a dumb move. You're a multi-million-dollar athlete. Call a friggin' cab, dude. Call a friggin' cab. What are you doing? So anyway, yeah, I got to suspect that this is the end of Marcelo Zuna, at least in Atlanta. Somebody will go, we believe in third chances, and give him another one down the line. But dude, you could have continued playing for the defending World Series champs, and you didn't do that. What a dumb move, man. What a dumb move. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, got a few more stories to run through before we get out of here for the day, including the Washington Commanders. Bum, 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 bum. They did not allow their fans to give input for the name of the team, but they have invited their fans to pick a mascot. And it's as bad as you think it is. We're going to talk about that. Massive, massive upgrade in the way we're talking about Major League Soccer. I'm going to talk about that coming up a little while. And it is a story that will impact NFL, MLB, and NBA fans. I got that coming down the pipe and more. The Rob Brown Show rolls on after this. It's the Fan Upstate. Be right back, stream. Don't go anywhere.
No, you just walk out, hit the ball. Hopefully walk out, hit a home run, trot around the bases, go back, sit down, take it easy.
It's not a bad gig. Yeah, that's a fact. Do.
Do you know there's actually a voice actors league?
Yeah. I did, but only because of my Critical Role nerds.
I'm a member of the voice actor league. Wonder what you got to do to be a part of the league.
Step 1, be a voice actor.
Do you have to have IMDb credits, or I mean, you could just say, "I today am a voice actor."
We prefer a voice thespian. I don't know.
Thespian. You would have hated part of the movie last night because there was applause after something happened.
A pause?
Applause.
Applause.
Obviously, I'm not in the Voice Actors Guild because I don't know how to enunciate. They was clapping, Rob. There's a guild also. I think, Josh, I think the league is probably, I don't know. Is the league the people who couldn't make it in the guild? I don't know.
Guild kind of sounds pretentious a little bit, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. It has a haughty air to it.
Yeah. And if anybody knows that.
Yes. I recognize it. You live it. Harley in the next break.
Hardly in the next break. Texas said, Rob, I was at the Braves Mets game last night. Ozuna wasn't in the lineup. I guess he really was enjoying his evening off. I agree 100%. Call an Uber, man. Yeah, you'll never get me to understand that. You'll never get me to understand that, right? Like I'm poor, and I call Ubers all the time, right? Like I call Ubers all the time. I call an Uber when I know, like if I'm going to the bar and I know the boys are going to be knocking back a few, I Uber to the bar.
You're about to not have time to do any of that.
I don't already, and I've added more. Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get a couple more stories in here before we get out for the day. The Washington Commanders, have decided to have their fans who did not get input on the name of the team, right? Which would have been the, smart thing for Dan Snyder to do. Instead of just picking a name that most of them dislike. Anyway, they have elected to have the Commanders fans pick the mascot that they would like to have represent the Commanders. Now, one of the themes for a mascot that they've added is fine. It's historical figure. Now, I'm trying to think, like, what historical figure would represent that team? Is it George Washington, the first commander-in-chief of the United States military? Is it George Patton? Like, who's the commander that you would pick if you picked historical figure? And I don't have an answer for that. I mean, I assume the Washington Commanders would just go with a caricature of George Washington, but is it just me or does that it kind of feels like you're cheapening the legend of George Washington, right?
Yeah, but still, there's like a run of the presidents or something on some baseball game where
There
there's-
is.
Yeah, so that's kind of the same thing, isn't it?
I mean, to some degree,
I know
guess.
I know it's not putting it on T-shirts and hats, but
Right.
still.
But here are the other 3 categories that you can pick the mascot you want to. By the way, you can't pick the mascot. You can just pick the type of mascot that you want, and then they're going to roll it at you. Number 1 is a dog. A dog.
So it could be a dash hound, could be a corgi, just some sort of dog.
A dog.
Okay.
Now, I'm not anti-dog as a mascot, right?
So I guess a wolf is not a dog.
Yeah, I mean, and now the three themes that they have allowed their fans to vote on. And by the way, it's not like an open vote where you just like submit an idea and they're going to pick one. You can pick the theme. I don't have an issue with dog. The Saints mascot is a dog. His name is Gumbo, right?
I didn't know the Saints had a mascot.
I do. It's a dog. His name's Gumbo. He's like a hunting dog kind of setup.
Like a beagle.
I don't know.
Looking
It's a
thing.
person in a dog suit, so I don't know.
All right. What color is it?
They did have a like a border collie dog named Fetch at one point, and he was a team mascot, Zoe, but it was kind of rad in that Fetch would live on the sideline, and after kickoffs they would send Fetch out to bring back the kicking tee. Right on kickoffs, Fetch would run out there and get the tee until he did it one time while the ball was still live, and then they're like, nope, can't do that anymore.
All right.
Oops.
Gumbo apparently is a Saint Bernard.
St. Bernard, there you go.
Does it?
I mean, he's an anthropomorphized dog. It's not like an actual dog.
It looks like McGruff on his day off.
A little bit. So dog is one, which, all right, I mean, I guess you could go with like a, what do you call it? German Shepherd. Yeah, I think President Biden had a dog named Commander that was a German Shepherd.
Is that one of the biting ones?
Yeah, that was the biting one.
Okay,
That one
all
had to they had to move it out of the White House because it kept biting Secret Service agents, right? Your second option is a superhero. Now, I assume that all 3 of these things, because the third option is a hog, right? That one makes a little bit of sense because back when they were the team name that shan't be mentioned, they called themselves the Hogs, and all the fans would come with like pig noses on. I didn't understand why, but it's also not my team, so I don't care, right? So a dog, a hog, or a superhero.
It had something to do with the offensive line, if I recall.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
And the dudes with pig noses and dresses was very disturbing, but they got on TV.
Hey, I got on TV all the time. They were the super fans. So a superhero, a dog, or a hog. And my question...
Hogs are going to win it, by the way.
Oh, hogs are going to run away with
That's
this.
why they put that in there.
But here's my thing. If you're not one of them, like, are you like, yeah, my team represents itself via pig. We're the pigs. Fighting pigs. Let's go fighting swine. Yay. Washington Commanders. Let me make this easy for you.
I prefer something like Sir Purr. Okay?
That's dope.
Yeah, Sir Purr is awesome.
That's dope. Unless you go Pat the Patriot. You ever seen Pat the Patriot? He's creepy.
He is very creepy.
He's creepy, right? But you guys have what? You guys have like a coyote?
Yeah, he's cool too.
Chiefs coyote. The Seahawks have a Seahawk. That's a big stretch. Saints have a dog. Like, I'm fine with a mascot that maybe isn't like, it's not the thing that your team is, right? I'm fine with that. Can I just make this one easy? Can I give you a free win here? Washington Commanders, bum. Can I give you a free dub here? Instead of having a mascot, you ready for an easy one, Lonzo? Just have a designated military member that shows up and serves that role every game. Like every game, pick a designated military, active duty, or retired service member, put them in the uniform, and then treat them to a game. I'll tell you one of the really cool things that Charlotte FC did this year, the Queen City. Charlotte FC, Zoe, when they bring in like an honorary team captain or grand marshal for the game or whatever, in the stands, they had this really big, dope black throne, right? And when they bring you in as the celebrity mascot, or when a team player wins man of the match, they bring them up and they sit on the throne in the stands. The throne's in the stands with the fans. They sit on the throne and they give them this really badass black crown to wear with it. And it's like, that's cool, man, because it plays to the theme of the Queen City. It's a moment that person gets to share with the Charlotte FC fans, and it's a really cool look, right? It's a really cool look. Bring in a designated military veteran or active duty service member, have them put on their dress uni, right? And let them serve as the captain. Let them serve as the guy in charge, and just do that. As opposed to, for a team that's owner is in trouble for acting like a pig, probably not the best mascot to go with. Again, I don't mind if you have a mascot that's like unrelated to your team, but a dog, like your whole thing, because it is. And I'm gonna go ahead and pull back the curtain on radio for you just a little bit. You ever heard the term red meat, right? In politics, when I used to do a political show, imagine how Liberob the Woke Warrior did doing a political show. My boss used to do it all the time. He used to be like, I know you like to challenge people's beliefs. And I do. Even if I agree with you, I like to challenge beliefs.
I hadn't noticed that at all.
No, I didn't think you would.
I'm
very subtle about it.
See first and second hour stream.
Yeah. I'm very subtle about it. I like to challenge your beliefs. Even if I agree with them, I like to. You should believe things you have a reason to believe, not just believe them, right? The reason Washington, and I believe this, the reason Washington went with the Commanders isn't because they thought the Commanders was the best option. It's because they needed red meat, right? It's like after a celebrity gets in trouble. There's a formula. First, you apologize publicly. Then, you do some charity work. Then, you put the PR out there about that charity work. That's the red meat. That is tossing the red meat to the audience to distract them away from the actual problem. The Commanders went Commanders because there's like one group of people in this country that you do not marginalize, and that's military members, right? Like even people who are pacifist, even people who believe that the U.S. military is too bloated, spends too much money, is too involved in foreign affairs and want it to stop. Even people who are against the actions of the military are not anti-military personnel, right? Even people who think we're putting too much into the military aren't like, yeah, I hate soldiers. Nobody says that. Nobody's against the actual military members. So you went military theme because your team, up until the Cleveland Browns, was the most heel team in the NFL. And they're still right there, right? Like you're still right there. So what did you do? You picked to represent you the one group in America that you don't insult. Military members, right? This has happened to me in years where I have an argument against something that I don't like and people go, oh, yeah. No, you're against that thing, Rob. That means you hate cops. No. Oh, yeah, that means you hate the military. No. No, that's not what it means. You're assigning it a meaning that it doesn't have, right? The one group you don't do that to is the military. It's the military members. You pick the name as a red meat ploy, and now you're like, yeah, let's represent them with a dog or a pig.
See,
what the hell are you doing?
I get everything you're saying, but a mascot, I think by nature, is there for entertainment, for comedy relief, for those sort of things. When it comes to the NFL, it's kind of different in college, but pro teams, the mascot is there to entertain in between innings or to do something on the sidelines. I don't think your premise works for that because I think it kind of demeans the military by putting them out there to do that. I think you got to have something goofy and stupid out there on the sidelines because that's what a mascot is supposed to be.
See, I don't see this. I think if you 20 minutes before game time, right? Stadium's full, energy's up. The Commanders fans have been done singing their insurance jingles about their team. And then you go, and now tonight's honorary captain representing the 96th Communications Squadron of Eglin Air Force Base, Florida. Here is Staff Sergeant blah, 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 blah.
But they already kind of do that, presenting the colors and
Right, but
things
I'm
like
saying
that.
give it an even bigger role instead of representing your team with a pig, which your owner's been accused of doing, or just like, hey, you guys like dogs, right? Here's a dog. Everybody likes a dog. Here's a dog.
All right, Rob, what part of the audience is the mascot for?
People at the game.
No, it's for children. It's not. The mascots are there to entertain the children. On pro sports, in college it's different, but in pro sports, they're there to entertain the children. That's what they're there for.
Washington Commanders known for their concern over the feelings of any of their fans. I don't know. It's like, and this is one of those segments that I do, and I'm like, you know what? It's not a big deal, right? And nobody cares about it like I care about it. I just think it's another illustration of how when a team is poorly run, my goodness, do they dive into the dumpster head first, eh, Dan? Dan's rooting around like a freaking raccoon in the bottom of the dumpster right now. Hey, guys, we're pigs now. All right. That's the biggest concern your team's got right now. Anyway.
This was all just a reason for him to go at Dan Snyder.
Correct!
Yeah, that's all this was. Speaking of red meat.
I don't need a reason. I'll take one. I'll absolutely take one. All right, let's do this. Let's take a break. Let's come back. Let's wrap this bad boy up. We will hit one or two other short stories. We'll get Twitter trending topics, and then we'll go get set up for a little Burns football live tonight, 7 o'clock p.m. pregame show, 7:30 p.m. kickoff. I will be on the call. Can't wait. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate.
So this is all in theory. I haven't been able to listen to it yet. So I may go in there and it may be Alonzo. Would not shock me.
I hope it is.
I don't, because we can't get the thing posted if they can't get my name right.
Mariah Carey is trying to trademark the nickname Queen of Christmas. She wants to have Queen of Christmas trademarked.
That's absurd. That's almost like trying to trademark the.
Yeah.
I mean, who would do that? Stealing people's thunder there. Anyway, is she not the Queen of Christmas?
No, she has a Christmas song.
She has more. She has a Christmas album.
We're right, but she has
Which most
a
people do.
Christmas song. All I Want for Christmas Is You. This is
Well,
the trigger of Christmas.
there are a certain generation of people who think that it is the Christmas
and that's
song.
fine. But like, the Queen of Christmas, the Queen of Christmas, Mrs. Claus has something to say, Mariah. And for the record, I love that song, and I love Mariah. I do.
We have never butchered that song at Christmas karaoke. I think it may have to happen.
I don't even know if I could parody that song.
Well, I was going to request that you do it now that you're like, no, I can't.
I don't
can't.
love for Christmas,
No,
brother.
I'm not making fun of Mariah.
I love Mariah.
I would make fun of her to her face
Queen
because
of
she might
Christmas is a little dramatic, Mariah.
slap you. Diva lifestyle's for real, yo.
Oh, for sure. I'm not even questioning her status as a diva. She is. That's so dumb. Mariah Carey has filed a trademark to be known as the Queen of Christmas.
So if
Mariah,
she
you had a song, dude.
if she's not Queen of Christmas, who is the Queen of
There's
Christmas?
not one. There's not one.
Is it Mrs. Claus?
Yes. Mrs. Claus is the and the only Queen of Christmas. I love Mariah. I love that. I unabashedly, unashamedly love All I Want for Christmas Is You. But that doesn't make you the Queen of Christmas. Francis Scott Key penned a pretty good national anthem, but we don't call him the King of America. All right? Stop it, Mariah.
You know what? I wish you would never have brought this up because I don't know the words to that song. So all I hear is all I want for Christmas is you. I hate that when that happens. Thanks. Thanks. And I am not going to go listen to a Christmas song to get it out of my head. I'm not doing that.
Oh, yeah, we definitely don't share an office of which I have a speaker in.
I've already replaced it with I Love You from Barney, so I'm good.
Texter says, Rob, who are your sidekicks on the air tonight at Burns? I will be joined by Lane Fowler and Sam Clark. Lane and Sam were the sideline and color for Cole Bryson last year. They'll be rejoining me on the air. I'm very, very excited to have Lane and Sam with me this evening. Looking forward for the chance to get them on the air and call some Burns football tonight. So make sure you're tuned in for that. What else do we have? I got some.
Wow, you're only like 7 hours and 15 minutes away from
Going live.
from week 0.
Week 1
Don't make that mistake.
of high school. I'm calling it week 1.
You'll get a strongly worded email from the South Carolina High School League Association, whatever they are.
All right, let me get this story out real quick. Fernando Tatis Jr. caught an 80-game suspension. We talked about that. Well, his father has now decided that he needs to check in. Fernando Tatis Jr. Took the 80-game suspension. Fernando Tatis Sr., who played in the major leagues over parts of 11 seasons, joined the midday show in the Dominican Republic on Monday to talk a little bit about his son. Texter says, good Lord. His father says that it could have been managed better and that, quote, I don't think there was reason to destroy the image of a player over something as minor as that. This is a catastrophe, what has taken place, not just for Junior, but for all of baseball. Here's my favorite Quote, Lonzo. Quote, there are millions of fans who are going to stop watching baseball now. End quote. Millions of fans are going to stop watching baseball because his son's not playing. Millions. By the way, hey, senior, your son hasn't played at all this year, and those millions of people are still watching. My goodness gracious.
Are there millions of
Millions!
Millions?
Millions!
And they're all
10
cool.
millions!
All right, it took a while because I can't believe he missed that opportunity.
That's on me. It was
Yeah.
right there for the taking. And I blew it.
I think he might be wrong.
Millions.
He might be incorrect.
We're going to stop watching because the guy who didn't play the first 100 games is now going to miss the back 80. Get out. Get out. Here's my favorite part. Manny Machado, Fernando Jr.'s teammate for the Padres. I don't have the exact quote right in front of me, but I'm going to paraphrase it, and it's going to be damn close. Alonzo, he said his initial quote dropped when Fernando caught the suspension, and he said, yeah, you know what? Our goal is still to win a World Series, which is fine. Like, of course it is, right? But then the first half of his quote dropped. And the first half of his quote dropped was, and again, paraphrased, but very close. Well, he hasn't been a part of the team so far, so I think we'll be okay. Dang, Manny. Is that just me? That's a blast, right? Not saying
he's in danger of losing millions of fans, and this is how he's taking it.
Millions. Manny Machado didn't say, you know, Fernando hasn't played this year, and we're just going to keep picking up the slack. He didn't say he hasn't been on the field with us. He said he hasn't been a part of this team so far. You can say what you want. There's a massive difference between he hasn't been able to play and so versus he hasn't been a part of this team. He's not part of the team? Damn. Kids, listen to Uncle Rob. Don't be such a bad teammate that your teammates are happy to say that you are not a part of the team. My goodness.
And now, the Rob Brown Show presents Twitter Trending Topics.
All right, time for Twitter Trending Topics, where I tell Rob what's trending on the internet, and he lets everybody know why it is trending. First thing that's trending is Myrtle Beach.
Dirty Myrtle. You know, I still have not been to Myrtle Beach.
Oh, you'll be overly critical because, you know, you grew up on a beach.
Well, no, see, I spent many summers. I spent many summers in Panama City Beach, which is just the Florida version of Myrtle Beach, right?
Or so you're told. You don't know since you haven't been to
That's
Myrtle.
true.
So.
I mean, listen, I know the legacy of Myrtle, right? Like, I know the legend of Myrtle, but I have not been there. But I've been to Panama City Beach, and I've been told by people who have been to both, that they're comparable. Like, Panama City Beach is just the Myrtle Beach of Florida. Is it bad that I want to make it a destination? Like, is it bad that I'm like, yo, I gotta hit Myrtle at some point?
I still go to that coast once a year and am happy to be there. The reason why it's trending is because, from what I can tell, it's trending because two people have suffered shark bites on the same day, just blocks apart at Myrtle Beach.
Same day.
Yes,
Well, at least there weren't beach umbrellas.
that's true. That is
been
true.
worse.
That is
Could
true.
have been impaled
At
by a
least-
spear with a parachute on the
Yeah,
end.
you got bit by a shark, but at least the wind wasn't blowing.
Yeah.
I mean, so you got that.
And there's a difference between I got bit by a shark versus I was shark attacked.
I wonder if it was the same shark,
Just one really angry shark.
just nibbling. you
All right,
know?
what else we got?
All right, the next thing that's trending is Tom Brady.
The GOAT! So far. Tom Brady trending because Bruce Arians said initially the plan was that Tom Brady was going to return to the Buccaneers this week, and now they don't know. Listen, I have said a number of times that Tom Brady...
It's Todd Bowles, by the way.
Todd Bowles, sorry.
Arians
Sorry.
is
Yep.
back in
And
Arizona or something.
no, I
taking
mean,
it
he's
easy.
still there. He's like up in the top, though.
Oh, is he?
He's in the front office
I just
now.
picture him in a jazz club
Yeah.
somewhere.
Todd Bowles said he doesn't know when Brady's going to be back with the team anymore. Listen, I gave Brady a bunch of leeway. I'm like, look, if there's one guy that doesn't need to show up for the preseason, it's Tom Brady. Like, Tom's going to be fine. But there is something to be said as far as building the chemistry now in the preseason when guys are playing football. Even if you're not playing, being on the sideline, coaching up the backup quarterbacks, coaching up the wide receivers as the GOAT. I'm to the point where even I am now like, come on, Tom.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. Have you heard of any sightings of him being anywhere?
No, and there is discussion amongst the Bucs fans that maybe there is something like not like bad for the team, but Tom Brady's got a genuine like family emergency, and maybe he does, right? Like there may be something going on we don't know.
Or maybe he went on a cheeseburger binge and he put on 5 pounds, and now it's going to wreck his diet plan, and he doesn't want to ruin his brand.
Yeah.
So he's
Gotta get back to the bubbly weird water.
working off the pudge there that he just put on in the offseason.
I like that in Lonzo's mind, he just made Tom Brady fat to have a reason to get on him. I like it.
Why not? All right, the last thing that's trending is Eddie Kingston.
So honestly, don't know, although we haven't seen Eddie in a couple of weeks.
It's over a certain promo.
How about Punk calling out Hangman and wasn't supposed to? Real life heat behind the scenes. AEW's in trouble, though. Although Omega's back, Dana Bryan's is back, Moxley's at the top, Punk is back, Kingston's still there.
We'll see.
They're fine. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the week. Remember, Burns football tonight, 7 o'clock p.m. pregame, 7:30 kick. I'll be on the call. Looking forward to sharing that with you. Tomorrow, Bet for the Cycle. You can watch that on Twitch at twitch.tv/BetQL. Love to have you join us for that. Have a great weekend. Do not drink and drive. I will punch you in the face. I appreciate you guys listening. Without you, I don't have a job. So thanks. For Lorenzo, I am Rob Brown. This was the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Later, brother. Stream, you guys are awesome. I appreciate it. We'll see you tonight on the Burns game. I'll see you back here Monday to do it all over again.